podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Sunday, November 7th, 2021. This is episode 1842. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by userway.org. Userway ensures your website is ADA compliant, accessible, and helps your business avoid accessibility-related lawsuits. The perfect way to showcase your brand's commitment to millions of people with disabilities. It's not only the right thing to do, it's also the law. Go to userway.org/twit for 30% off Userway's AI-powered accessibility solution. And by Simply Safe. Take advantage of Simply Safe's holiday sale and get 40% off your new home security system by visiting simplysafe.com/twit. And by Codecademy. Join the millions of people learning to code with Codecademy and see where coding can take you. Get 15% off your Codecademy Pro membership when you go to codecademy.com and use the promo code TechGuy. Oh, hey, how are you today? Good morning. Good morning, Bright Eyes. You got an extra hour of sleep, didn't you? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Yes, it's time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, why we have to change the clocks twice a year, that kind of thing. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. If you want to talk high tech with me, I'd love to talk high tech with you. 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada outside that area. Well, you can still call me, but you got to use some sort of clever workaround. That's what we call it in the business. When something doesn't work and there's no fix for it, you use a workaround. And the workaround in this case is using Skype or something like that to call a landline outside of your nation. And since it will be a toll-free line in the U.S. and Canada, I think it should be a free call no matter where you're calling from, anywhere in the world. We do get calls from all over the world. It's kind of fun. 8888 Ask Leo. We're the last country, one of the last countries to end daylight saving time as we did last night. I think there's something like 30 countries that still do it or kind of in sync with us. We moved, as you may remember, we moved our switch to daylight savings time later in the year by a few weeks. Back, I think it was 2016. It was before that. It was in the Obama administration. And I do remember one thing, in fact, about it, which was we were going to be like everyone else and go a week earlier, October 31st. That's when Mexico, for instance, did it. But the candy makers of America said, but we want more time for Halloween trick-or-treating. We would like you to not set, we don't want people to have to, end their trick-or-treating earlier. I don't know. I don't understand the logic, but they felt it would impact candy sales. So we said, well, of course, can't do that. So November 7th is the end of daylight saving time. In the EU, the European Union, they do the last Sunday in October. Iceland is exempt. It was actually, you can blame them for this to begin with. They started, the UK and Germany implemented the clock change in World War I hoping to conserve coal. After the war ended, they stopped, but then they did it again during the global oil crisis in the 80s. Now, the European Union, actually 2 years ago, decided to scrap the clock change. In 2018, the European Parliament voted to end the practice. They actually asked. No one's asked us. They asked after a poll of 4.8 million Europeans showed overwhelming support for scrapping it. And I bring this up every 6 months that, there are many, many studies showing there's negative physical and psychological impact of switching this back and forth. So in 2018, the European Union decided to stop, but then coronavirus was supposed to take effect this year. Coronavirus. There are so many impacts of coronavirus. This is one of them. I figure if Europe does it and says no more, saving time, no more. They call it summertime, I think. No more summertime. If they did it, I think the U.S. would probably do it, right? Or no, we don't do anything those Frenchies do. I don't know. It would be nice if we could all kind of get together on this. There's also the issue, I was talking about this with my lovely wife this morning. She says, let's keep saving time. Let's keep the summertime all year round. And that would involve changing your time zone, right? You could say we're going to stay on standard time, but to say we're going to stay on summertime, on saving time, that would be changing your time zone. I don't know. I feel like that's a kind of global decision. I don't know. I might be wrong. You don't want zigzaggy time zones all over the place. You kind of do, but only about 70 countries out of the 200 plus still observe daylight saving time. Hawaii and Arizona do not do it, right? I think, didn't California, didn't we vote on this? I think we voted to do it, but then it takes the state legislature to agree, and they couldn't. Of course. And the UK, well, they're going their own way. Like California. Anyway, I don't know why I bring that up, except it's a little easier these days. Have you noticed? Do you remember, maybe if you're of a certain age, you remember having to go around the house and fixing all the clocks. Then you get in your car and the car clock is wrong, right? Then it turned out most of our devices were internet connected and they all fixed themselves. Now I just have to, even my toaster oven changes its time automatically. And the clocks on the wall, the cuckoo clock doesn't. I had to fix that one. And with a cuckoo clock, you don't want to go backwards. So I had to actually stop it for an hour. And then, because it's fall back, right? I don't want to go backwards. And I don't want to go forwards 23 hours. That was too much work. You have to move the big hand around. That's too much. And it's cuckooing the whole time. It's so annoying. So I just said, I just stopped it. And I said, I'll see you in an hour. The oven I had to change, the microwave. What did you have to change? Nowadays, your computers, your phone, your smart watches, a lot of the, your Echoes and your Google Assistants, all of them, they know what time it is. They know. It's really, we talk about the haves and have-nots. Well, really, there is a dividing line between the internet-enabled and the all alone in their own little world devices. Those are the ones you have to set. They don't know what day it is, what time it is. And then there's devices like this. I have a clock behind me, a Nixie clock, that was built in the Ukraine. So it changed last week. It said, no, we changed today. But now we've caught up. 8888 asks, Leo, I have in my hands the Pixel phone, the new Pixel 6. Very nice. Like it. Google's done a nice job. I snagged it early so I could take it with me to on my vacation in Mexico. Got a lot of great pictures. It was the Day of the Dead, so a lot of night shots, cemetery shots. And it is true, especially in a cemetery where nobody's moving, it does a beautiful job of late night shots. With people moving, a little harder because the way it does night shots, it takes 9 photos and smushes them together. But if you take 9 photos and somebody's moving, they're going to be in a different position in each photo. So it's what we call computational photography. Chris Marquardt talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Maybe we'll talk a little more in a little bit. He reviewed the iPhone 13. I had the iPhone 12. I have to say, it took maybe, this is heresy. I think maybe even better pictures than the Pixel 6. My problem with Google's phone is that it does, of course, what every smartphone it does these days. I use the phrase computational photography. It takes the mediocre image it gets from those tiny little lenses on the back of your phone. They're not very big. And it does the best it can using a variety of clever tricks, including artificial intelligence, to make it look better. And, for the most part, it does if you don't look too closely. But if you zoom in on pictures in the Pixel 6, I really noticed this. It looks like they're oil paintings. It's hard to describe. It's doesn't look real. It's not crisp. It looks like it was hand painted. And that's I've seen this before. If maybe you've seen some of the websites where they use artificial intelligence to generate human faces or paintings or poems. In every case, that's what happens. In every case, what you get is something lifelike-ish. And in images anyway, the way it looks just a little weird and smeared. It's a Pixel 6 Pro. Somebody's asking in the chat room. It's their top of the line. It's not bad, and I think really it's aimed at people who are going to post these pictures on Instagram and the like, where it doesn't really matter, right? Nobody's they call it pixel peeping. Nobody's zooming in to look at the pixels. But I think it is an argument for still having a good camera, especially if you don't like the way the processing changes the image. Now, one nice thing about both the iPhone and the Pixels, the newer cameras, I think the Samsung too, is you can say I want a raw, an unprocessed image as well as the processed image. So if you don't like what it did, at least you have the unprocessed image that which I have to say doesn't look as good. But you can process it by hand and get a better result, I think. So, quick review there. Very nice phone. I mean, if you're Android, the Google phones are a good choice, especially because they've guaranteed now to give you security updates for 5 years. That's very good. 8888 asks Leo. The website is techguylabs.com. And I mentioned that because that's a free place you can go to get anything we talk about, links, pictures. I'll put some pictures from the phone to illustrate these concepts. I can put those up on the website. techguylabs.com. That's free. There's no sign up. I suppose later today we could talk about Facebook's new name. Haven't talked about that yet. Meta. I have in my hands pages 1 and 2 of the 64-page, how long is it, John? Huge, 32. All right, I doubled it. 32-page trademark application for the new name for Facebook. And they want to trademark it in a variety of when you make a trademark, you say, oh, this is for ice cream cones, or this is for radio shows, that kind of thing. They say that Meta is a trademark for downloadable software, computer hardware, software development tools, handheld computers, computer tablets, downloadable software for application programming interface, downloadable software for organizing events, searching for events, calendaring and managing events, for creating, editing, uploading, downloading, accessing, viewing, posting, displaying, tagging, blogging, streaming, linking, annotating, indicating sentiment about, commenting on, interacting with, embedding and sharing or otherwise providing electronic media, images, video, audio, visual content, data, and information via the internet and in communication networks. And that's just one. There's a semicolon there. That's just one clause in a sentence that goes on for 2 pages. Wait a minute, John, you didn't print. I don't see a period at the end. I just see a comma. So I think it's more than 2 pages. But is there a period at any point in the 32 pages, or just does it go? There's sections. I wonder where the first sentence ends, because there's a lot of semicolons in here. Wow. Downloadable software for creating, sharing, disseminating, posting, advertising. Downloadable software for geolocation-based advertising and product and service promotion. Downloading software that enables individuals, companies, groups, and brands to create and maintain an online presence and interact with online communities for marketing purposes. What does Facebook do? Oh, I'm sorry. See, already, I blew it. What does Meta do? A lot. Electronic sensor devices, cameras, projectors, and microphones for gesture, facial, and voice detection, capture, and recognition. Don't you dare use Meta for anything. We own it for everything. 8888. Ask Leo's the phone number. We go to the phones in just a moment. Meta means dead in Hebrew, M-E-T-A. Well, that's a little mistake. Mark obviously didn't remember anything from his bar mitzvah. Yeah, I think the little Chicago company called Meta is they're suing, but of course they know that lawsuit will end up in a little bit of a check written to them. I'm just surprised that Facebook didn't contact them first. You know, like, hey, we would like to just borrow that name if you don't mind. Let me see if I can find a good picture that illustrates the Pixel 6 smearing thing I was talking. In fact, I know I have a picture that'll do that. As soon as my photos can load. It's Lisa, outstanding in her field. Her Magai. So this is the, and this is the original coming off of the Pixel. And it looks good at a distance, but if you zoom in, it's a little painterly. It's a little over. I mean, it's not pixelated, and I guess that was the goal. If I go to, this is the RAW. So that'll give you an idea of what the Pixel is doing. This is the RAW image, and ignore the color because obviously you can modify the color, but as you can see, it's adding detail. And the detail it's adding, it's kind of interesting. It's from AI. It's AI. Of course, you prefer that. Nobody's saying you should post the RAW. I'm glad I get the RAW. I'll bring my love to Kim Schaffer, the unbreakable phone angel. She lonely over there in that little booth we put her in. Where it's freezing cold, I guess, because you're wearing a big old woolly sweater.
I'm looking at it in the camera. I'm like,
this
thing
cold.
Looks huge.
Yeah, you look cold. So she's not. She's a warm person who's going to answer your call when you call 8888 Ask Leo and put you on the air.
Yes.
Did you have any trouble with the time change this morning?
No, because my phone does its own thing and my car does its own thing, and I haven't changed one single clock. So,
wow.
Those are and my watch. Yeah, my watch probably changed on its own too because it's connected to the.
That's
phone,
what's changed. I think in the last few years is everything we have now knows what time it is.
Yeah, I was only afraid that Apple might fail me like it did several years ago to a lot of people. With the time change.
Yeah. There's Apple. In fact, it wasn't one time. It happened several times.
It?
Apple had a bug where DST confused the watch and it crashed. They've fixed that now. That's not going to happen again. That person is gone.
But I would have just been an hour early. Yeah. So this one I don't worry about. It's right. March. I don't like March.
Yeah, where you'd be an hour late. That's right. Yeah. It's hard. Is it hard for you to figure that out? It's hard for me to figure it. So we set the clock back. Mm-hmm. So does that mean I will be early or late when I show up? And I have to really work it out on my fingers.
November, you're early. March, you're late.
Okay. Now you just remember. Who should I talk to?
Well, I wanted you to talk to Jeff from Munfordville, Kentucky, because I just wanted to say that town's name. But Kenny from Cottontown from yesterday called back to give an update on what so we'll go with Kenny first because
we'll get Cottontown and Munfordville all in the same show. Thank you, Kim. Hello, Kenny. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. It's good to talk to you again. So I just wanted to give you sort of an update. I was thinking about the things that you said yesterday about trying to get it into that AFPS. And one of the things that I was going through my head was the solid state drive that I have is actually 4 terabytes. I was thinking to myself that it may have been a case where because Monterey is new and it may have been a little bit too complex to do it all in one amount.
So what he's trying to do is make a bootable version of the new macOS Monterey on an external drive. It keeps failing.
Correct.
The weird workaround we suggested yesterday was format it in the old file system and let Monterey convert it. Did that work?
Not really.
Oh, well.
So what I did is I partitioned it.
Oh, yeah. If you partition it into two terabyte drives, and did that work?
It did work.
So maybe there's
Normally,
modern operating systems should not be thrown by 4 terabyte drives. However, that may have been a RAID drive. It may have not been one 4 terabyte disk, but two 2 terabyte disks. I wonder, I didn't even think about that. That's so a lot of companies did that initially because they couldn't get these. You can now easily get a 4 terabyte single drive. But in the past, what they do is they put 2 in and they'd have it be invisibly rated, and that could have confused it too. I should have mentioned that. Anyway, you got it working.
Yeah, I did get it working.
Just partition the drive, 2 terabytes. Good. Thank you for the update.
What I did.
I appreciate it, Kenny.
Welcome.
Thank you for the update. Hey, Sam Abuelsamid, our car guy. Coming up next, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, well, that was ingenious. I would check on the hardware to see if it is a rated pair of drives instead of a single drive. That might be what one of the things going on there. That might be. Yeah, because Apple ships 8 terabyte drives, so I don't think the size of the drive is the issue exactly. That's so interesting. You know, this is not unusual with new operating systems. You get weird things. One of my favorite programming languages, Dr. Racket, wouldn't save. I was trying to make an updated clock for Micah, and Dr. Racket wouldn't save on Monterey, and it's a known bug, and they actually had to do a patch. Could have been a Fusion drive, or could have just been 2 RAIDed drives. Apple's funny with RAID. Apple is, unless it's hardware RAID, Apple's a little funny. Yeah, you'd think. It's interesting. That's a puzzler, as the car guys, Click and Clack, used to say. There's a puzzler. We got, how does that work? Don't know. Yeah, it's an external USB drive. Hey, there's Sam. Hello, Sam.
Hello.
How are
Hello,
you?
Leo.
Hello, Sam.
I'm doing well.
Good. What you driving these days besides your Miata?
I have a cyber orange Ford Maverick XLT in my driveway.
Okay. You call it Clementine?
No. It is Ford's new compact pickup truck.
One of the people on the look at that. One of the people on the trip with us was a nice lady who drives a orange Mini Cooper, original Mini Cooper. She calls it Clementine. She races them. She races them. She says, "I've only flipped it 2 or 3 times, but it's got a roll."
When I did the autocross a month or so ago with my daughter, there was somebody there racing an original Mini Cooper as well.
Fun. Well, if you ever see an orange one, she lives in Wisconsin, in Madison. If you ever see an orange one, you'll know.
Next time I'm in Wisconsin,
hey, it's Gretchen.
I'll look for it.
So Lisa's comes, I think, this week.
Oh, excellent.
Mm-hmm. It was funny. She and Gretchen got along really well together. They said, women should be fast. If it's under 100 miles an hour, we don't care. Lisa's also a speed demon. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Time for our car guy, Sam Abuelsamid. He joins us each week. He's, of course, a expert on automotive technology, writing for Guidehouse Insights as a principal researcher. He has a the Wheel Bearings podcast, the one and only Wheel Bearings podcast at wheelbearings.media. Joins us every week to talk about cars. Another Tesla engineer leaving and going to Apple. This is not the first, probably not the last. It's funny, Elon used to say Apple's where engineers from Tesla who can't hack it go. I don't know if he still feels that way. This engineer was
I think he's sort of right. It's engineers who can't hack Elon, can't hack being micromanaged by him.
Yeah,
that go elsewhere. Which is, to be honest, a lot of his engineers over the years.
I don't understand why Apple's spending so much money. They have literally hired thousands of people and are spending probably money that's getting up towards $1 billion designing their own car. I really don't get it, but I guess Elon's doing all right. I see Teslas everywhere. And
well, they are the Camry of Silicon Valley now.
They are. I guess that's not exactly praise, but I guess it's true.
Well, I mean, hey, you know,
and with
Hertz made a lot of money selling a lot of Camrys.
You could say they're the Saturn of rental vehicles because Hertz bought 100,000 of them. So
maybe
that's unclear. Yeah.
Yeah. Whether that deal actually happens remains to be seen. But
so you, I think today want to talk about, I can see it behind you, self-driving vehicles.
Yeah, coming up this week, starting tomorrow, actually, is the Nvidia Fall GTC conference, the GPU Technology Conference, back in the spring.
Used to be the gaming technology conference. Now it's a whole lot more than that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's about all kinds of stuff. And, you know, NVIDIA is using their GPU technology for everything from self-driving vehicles to data centers to AI applications and robotics. Their chips are being used everywhere now. And so, you know, this is their twice annual. Actually, before the pandemic, they were doing it about 4 times a year in various locations around the world. But right now they're doing it twice a year. They did one back in March, which you and I did color commentary during Jensen Huang's
that was fun.
keynote. This time, Jensen's keynote is going to be broadcast during Central European time in the morning. So it'll be like 4:30 a.m. Eastern, about 1:30 in the morning your time on the Pacific. But they'll be replaying it a couple of times during the course of the day as well, if anybody wants to watch it. And you know, as it has been for, you know, since last year, it's virtual, it's all online, and it's all completely free of charge. Anybody can register to check out any of the sessions, and there's a couple of hundred different sessions on all kinds of different topics around NVIDIA's technology, around AI software, the hardware, because NVIDIA spends a lot of resources on developing software as well as the hardware. And there's a link that I dropped in the chat, which I will drop in there again. And you can register for free tomorrow. In fact, on Monday, there are a whole slew of sessions on automated vehicles, automated vehicle technologies. So anybody that's interested in that might want to check it out. There's some interesting stuff around developing and automated vehicles at scale, HD mapping. NVIDIA recently bought a company called DeepMap, and so they're now doing mapping as part of this, scaling the machine learning operations for AV development, optimizing deep neural nets, all kinds of really interesting stuff.
There's so much going on in this area. It's kind of interesting. And NVIDIA, which of course, as I mentioned, started as making video cards, graphics processors for gaming, has discovered this whole new realm of business, which has made them quite wealthy. What's the status of their attempt to acquire ARM? Because ARM, which designs chips for Apple and Qualcomm and others, Samsung, they were trying to buy ARM for, I think it was $30 billion.
Yeah, actually, I think it was closer to 40. But the EU is still doing an antitrust investigation into that acquisition.
I think it's going to kill it.
And China is also looking into it. It could very well kill the deal. The last time a big chip acquisition like this, it wasn't anywhere near this size, happened was a few years ago when Qualcomm tried to buy NXP, and that ended up getting killed because it dragged on so long, and the Chinese regulators eventually basically said no. So that they ended up dropping that deal and walking away. And in fact, as it turns out, both companies are worth a lot more now than they were back at the time that deal.
Well, that's why it's now $40 billion, because it was partly stock, and that stock has gone up by quite a bit. It was a lot less. It's gone up like 25%. NVIDIA's stock went up this weekend after the metaverse announcement. I think some are saying because Wall Street sees NVIDIA as a leader in the metaverse, in the
Yeah, well, I mean, they'll probably be powering a lot of this metaverse stuff. A lot of it'll probably be running on GPUs in data centers. Their technology is very important.
Yeah.
I will also be talking at Nvidia GTC for the first time. I'm doing a talk on Tuesday afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific time. If you want to tune in for that.
What's it on?
It's about going from autonomous to ADAS, how the technology for autonomous vehicles is now filtering down into driver assist systems.
ADAS is driver assist.
Yeah, advanced driver assist systems.
Okay.
It's funny. There's a conference that I've spoken at numerous times in the past that was from ADAS to autonomous, because it was always about how building on top of driver assist systems, making them more and more capable till you get to autonomous. Well, what's actually happening now is it's kind of going in the opposite direction. That's what my talk is all about.
Well, I was going to ask you to take the temperature at this conference and see, because it sure seems like this whole promise of full self-driving, level, 4 or 5 autonomy, is not happening. It's not happening anywhere in the near future.
It's taking a lot longer than people anticipated.
But ADAS, that's a sensible way for it to go towards driver assist, right? That makes sense.
Yeah, it's slow, steady progress. Cruise just had an event this week where they talked about, it was primarily a recruiting event, recruiting engineers, but they talked about how they're building their system, and they're probably going to launch their driverless ride-hailing service in parts of San Francisco, probably sometime early in 2022 once they get their permit from the California PUC. And Waymo just started this week testing in Manhattan.
And San Francisco, right? You can get for the first time ever
San Francisco for a while.
drive, but now no safety driver in the front.
Right. So they're still not
scary.
Waymo's still not picking up passengers in San Francisco, but they've got vehicles testing driverless.
Yeah. Somebody is.
And Cruise has been doing that for a while.
Somebody was talking about maybe it was Cruise taking the first driverless autonomous taxi in San Francisco this week. I can't remember.
Yeah, that was Kyle Vogt.
Kyle,
the CTO of Cruise and the founder, co-founder of Cruise.
Okay, so he gets to go, but not the rest of us.
That's right.
Yes.
The rest of us will have to wait until they get their permit from the regulators to allow them to pick up passengers.
Yeah. So, it's really interesting to see how Nvidia has taken off and has become a multifaceted, successful chip company. And in some ways more successful, or at least with more promise, than Intel itself. So have fun at GTC if you want to see Sam talk. If you go to nvidia.com/GTC, you can see all the sessions, and you don't have to pay to go, I guess, right? You can watch.
Yeah, it's all absolutely free.
Open to the public. Sam Abuelsamid, wheelbearings.media. Thanks, Sam. So it's just for employees until the DMV says it's okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I saw, the headline is Cruise now offering driverless taxi rides, but it's only if you're an employee.
Yeah, that's inaccurate. They've actually been testing their ride-hailing service for employees for about 2.5 years now in San Francisco. So anybody that works for Cruise has been able to hail a ride for quite a while. But Kyle took the first ride.
I saw his YouTube video.
Using the app in a vehicle that didn't have a driver in it. He was the only one in the car sitting in the back seat. Wow.
They must have given him a kill switch or something.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there was a kill switch in the back. Well, and while he was the only one in the car, it was
surrounded by press. Yeah,
because that is part of the rules for testing in California.
Yeah.
For testing driverless, they do have to be doing remote monitoring full time right now. They can't just let them go. Somebody has to be watching. So
that will be kind of a breakthrough thing for self-driving, when you can get in a car and experience this for yourself, a ride with nobody in the car. For most people, that's when they're going to start to say, okay, maybe this is real. Are they doing that in Arizona? Is anywhere doing that yet? Driverless?
Waymo is doing it in Arizona, in Chandler.
Okay.
But it's only in a small part of the area where they test in.
Right.
It's about 5 or 10% of the rides that they do on a daily basis are driverless. But as with California, they are remotely monitoring the cars.
Yeah.
So if anything goes wrong, somebody can take remote control. And the environment where they're driving in Arizona is a lot easier to drive in than San Francisco.
Big wide streets that are straight and planned and so forth. If they can do it in San Francisco, then you got something. That would be impressive.
Well, even in San Francisco, the areas where they are testing driverless, and this is for both Cruise and for Waymo, is primarily on the west side of the city, over towards Golden Gate Park. The more residential areas.
The avenues are all grid. It's a grid. It's very simple. Not downtown.
Not downtown or the financial district or any of those areas.
Yeah.
They are testing there.
I can't even drive downtown. It's terrifying to drive downtown. And I've spent many years there, so.
Yeah.
I guess in a way, a smart vehicle would actually be better because it's not going to be impatient. It's not going to be in a hurry. It's just going to, do what it can do. And if there's something in the way, it stops.
Right. And, that's the challenge, is to minimize that part of it so that passengers don't get frustrated. And that's why, I think, what we're actually going to see deployed a lot more before ride hailing in places like that is deliveries, using them for deliveries, because packages don't care if if it stops for a few minutes while it's trying to figure out what to do next, or maybe takes a route that instead of taking a left turn where it's really challenging, it goes around and does 3 right turns to make a left.
Yeah, they've been doing those Grubhub, little Grubhub robot deliveries in universities for some time, and they're just patient. If there's anything in the way, they just wait.
Yeah, But human passengers get a little more annoyed about stuff like that.
And the car behind you.
Yeah.
Very annoying. Do you want to stick around for the top of the hour and take some questions from the chatters?
I will do that.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it. Has winter come to Ypsilanti?
We actually had a slight sprinkling of snow briefly last weekend, last Sunday or Saturday. Nothing stuck. And, we've had a few days this week when the temperature was, in the 29, 30 degrees in the morning when I went out to walk Daisy. Nice. But right now it's 62 degrees out and sunny.
Tech Guy Show brought to you today by, I think, something very near and dear to my heart. And I've talked about it before, Userway, userway.org. They have a vision that really resonates with me because, A, as a small business owner, I know that I have to have my website has to be accessible, has to be ADA compliant. B, as a human being, I want it to be. And as a businessman, I don't want to lock out a huge proportion of our potential viewers, especially with the Tech Guy Show. We have a lot of blind listeners. Userway can make every website ADA compliant with a single line of JavaScript code. It's the right thing to do. If federal law mandates it, the Americans with Disabilities Act, you got to have equal access to your site because it's a public entity. Userway's solution is AI powered. And the AI comes into play, for instance, with alt tags. You know that every image on your site, you want to have a text representation of that image for people using screen readers. That's a pain. It's hard. Userway does it automatically using AI. That's the Golden Gate Bridge. Adds the tag. If you want to enhance it, you want to say the Golden Gate Bridge at sunset with sailboats in the distance, you can do that. It makes it very easy to do that. Just one line of JavaScript, it can achieve more than an entire team of developers. And this incredible AI-powered solution from Userway tirelessly enforces the hundreds of WCAG guidelines, the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, WCAG, they call it. This is what you need to do. It's the right thing to do. It's the legal thing to do. And it's why 1 million websites, more than 1 million websites, use Userway, including Coca-Cola and Disney and eBay and FedEx, many other leading brands. And when you scale, Userway is going to scale with you. If Disney can use it, you can use it too. Enterprise-level accessibility tools now available to small and medium-sized businesses. Just ask the voice of Siri.
Userway is trusted by more than 1 million websites and 60 million users with disabilities. Visit userway.org to learn how one line of code can make your website accessible.
Thank you. Thank you, Siri. Whether you're using WordPress or Shopify or Wix, Userway is cost-effective. It's easy to add. Same goes for AM and Sitecore and SharePoint. If you go to the UserWay website, they've even got a free scanning tool there to see if your site is WCAG or ADA compliant. UserWay can make any site fully accessible and ADA compliant. With UserWay, everyone who visits your site can browse seamlessly, customize it to fit their needs. It's a great way to showcase your brand's commitment to millions of people with disabilities. It's the right thing to do, and it might keep you out of court, too. Userway.org/twit. If you go there right now, you'll get 30% off Userway's AI-powered accessibility solution. Userway, making the internet accessible for everyone. Userway.org/twit. Leo Laporte, the head-banging tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo, the phone number. Todd's on the line from Los Angeles. Hello, Todd.
Hi, how you doing, Leo? Thank you for taking my call. I wanted to just something to you. The other day, I was going for a job interview, and so the people asked me, they say, how do you keep up with the current technology? I say, I listen to Leo Laporte's Tech Guy show every Saturday and Sunday, so just wanted to share that with you.
Did you get the job?
Well, they still are going through the final candidate, so not yet. But
that should have got you right in the door, man. That should have. You want me to call him and tell him how great you are?
Well, no. Hey, I'm still praying, so hopefully, they haven't made a decision yet. So hopefully, I'll get it.
Good luck, Todd. That's great.
Yes. Okay, but Leo, the reason I was calling you though was because. In the event that I get this job, I was wanting to know how can I back up my personal files that I have on my work PC.
Oh, so this would be, let's say you have a computer at work. Is it a computer they've given you or a computer you've got?
It's the computer at work, my work computer that I have in the office.
Yeah. So ideally, they'd have what's called an IT department, but I know a lot of small companies, especially small and medium-sized businesses, don't. And since you've already admitted now you listen to this show, it's very likely they're going to expect you to do it. So you're going to have to find a solution. If there is an IT department, you can't really do your own thing usually. They'll probably have their own backup system, I would hope. Now here, I'll give, at our small business with about 15 employees, we have an MSP, a managed service provider. That's a contract employee who does our IT and other people's IT. And I don't think he has anything set up for backup. That may be more common than not. So it's up to you to back up your stuff. You remember in the old days of Microsoft Windows, they had a thing. I still laugh when I think about it. It was a little icon, a little briefcase icon that was on the desk. Remember that? The briefcase app? And that was the whole purpose of that, was that you could take your documents that you were working on at work home, you would drag them onto the briefcase. Then I'm trying to remember, it would copy itself to a floppy, I seem to remember. And then you'd pop the floppy and take it home. The modern equivalent of that, of course, the USB key. And if it is just, I want to make a copy of stuff that I'm, working on so I can work on it at home, that's a perfectly good solution. Nowadays, you can get, in fact, I carry around with me a small Seagate drive. You should wait and see what they offer at the work, because the computer you have at work may, in some cases, USB may be disabled. I've actually seen it go to the extreme of IT guys gluing the USB port, because that's potentially a huge risk. It's not, there's something that hackers do called a candy drop, where they leave infected USB keys lying around in the company parking lot, expecting somebody to pick it up and plug it into their computer. And it's possible to configure a USB key to auto-run and automatically run a program. IT has almost certainly turned off the auto-run feature. I hope so. So again, this is all going to depend on what IT has done and can't do. But assuming you have access to a USB port, they haven't filled it with super glue, and you're allowed to bring in your own drives and connect them to the computer. Again, that may be against policy. You got to check. I would recommend, and this is actually it depends on how much data you want to copy, but I would recommend a small USB drive. And the one I use, which I love, is from Seagate. They make a number of small portable USB drives. I think the one I use is I'm going to guess, but I'll look it up here real quickly, the T7. Again, it's going to really depend on what you need for capacity and so forth. The one I have, I think, is a little 2 terabyte self-powered USB drive. No, it's not the T7. Is it the 7T? I plug in, and it really is portable. It can fit in your pocket. It's convenient. And because it holds a terabyte or 2, it can hold everything you're working on. So when you say backup, it's going to kind of depend on what you really want. You don't want to back up that computer probably. What you want is your files, stuff you're working on, so you can take it home and work on it at home. And a little portable hard drive would probably be a very good choice. Thumb drives are a little less reliable than these external hard drives that have SSDs in them. They're still solid-state memory, but they're a little bit better solid-state memory than comes in the thumb drives, which are a little bit cheaper. So if you really want something reliable, again, it's not your only copy. It's the one you're using to kind of ferry stuff back and forth. Your briefcase, as it were. Not Seagate, Samsung. That's why I can't find it. There it is. The Samsung T7. If you look it up, portable drive, $139 for a terabyte. They have some that are have a fingerprint sensor on them. I also use a drive I love called a G drive that has, if you want security, this is a Western Digital sub-brand that has, you use your phone to unlock and lock it. And so that, even if that's something to keep in mind. If you lost the drive, dropped it, left it in the parking lot, for instance, what would you do? Let me just, I think I've got the name wrong on that too. So the Samsung T7 is one, and the Samsung T series, there's quite a few of them. And then Western Digital makes a highly secure drive. I have it on my phone because I use my phone to unlock it. So it's using a Bluetooth. It's kind of cool. The Armor Lock, that's what it's called. So that's the Western Digital Armor Lock. And it's a great little drive. A little more expensive because it's designed to be more secure. But those would be some good ways to do it. Then the software, of course, is just going to depend. In a lot of cases, you just drag the files over like you used to do with Windows Briefcase. If you want something a little bit more sophisticated, there are synchronization tools you can use that can say, well, what's this folder on your local drive? What's this folder on the external drive? Let's make sure they match. I use a program called SyncThing, an open source program to do that, but I've often recommended, and I still do on Windows anyway, Second Copy, which is a program that can be set up so that it sees when your drive is plugged in, and the minute your drive is plugged in, it says, all right, let's make a duplicate of this internal folder to the external. So you can set up Second Copy to sit and run on your computer, again, IT permitting, watch for this external drive to be plugged in. It'll wake up and say, okay, good, and make sure that the two drives match. It also, so there's a difference between synchronization and backup. I should probably explain this too, because this could also bite you. Synchronization is getting two folders to match exactly. That means deletions are also copied. So if I delete files on my internal drive, it's going to delete them on the external drive. That's not a backup. A backup never deletes anything. So, and you can set Second Copy. You can say, don't remove files. If they've been removed from the master copy, doesn't mean you should remove it from the external drive. You probably want to set it that way. Sometimes they say, do not synchronize deletions. That's a backup as opposed to synchronization. SecondCopy.com. There's a free trial, and it was fairly inexpensive to buy. I think it's $30. That's a very easy way to do it. You plug in your USB. And by the way, I carry in my briefcase, I carry this little USB drive. Plug it in, copies it over, go home. Everything you need is there. And similarly, you do the same thing at home. Ask IT before you do any of this stuff. Because they probably have an opinion. All right, Sammy.
Hey, Leo?
Yes, sir.
Next Sunday, I won't be available because I will be on my way out to San Diego for a Toyota event on Monday.
Okie dokie. We'll miss you, but have a good time.
Yeah, but when I get back after that, that week is also the LA Auto Show, and we'll have some stuff to talk about from there.
Cool. Good. I look forward to that. Meanwhile, 8 minutes. It's all yours. You can take the con, Sammy.
Okay. Yes, somebody was asking in the chat about the Maverick, whether I'd seen the lifted one on the 32-inch wheels. That was shown by Ford this past week at the SEMA show. That's the Specialty Equipment Manufacturers Association show in Las Vegas. They it's all aftermarket stuff, and they had a couple of customized Mavericks there on display, including one that was lifted. Looked pretty cool. The one I've got is just a stock one, straight from the factory, a middle-level XLT hybrid, front-wheel drive. Sticker price is $24,000 on it, and I got 41 miles per gallon with this thing when I was testing it the other day. Really, really good. Tokyo Tony is asking, Sam, being that the electrical grid will need a major overhaul before everyone starts to switch over to electric, and the amount of e-waste an electric car produces, why aren't hydrogen cars more prominent? And do you think if you had your druthers, you'd focus more on hydrogen than electric? Well, first of all, EVs don't make that much e-waste. The most e-waste you're going to get is potentially if you were taking the depleted batteries and throwing them in a landfill, but nobody's going to be doing that. As we start to scale up the number of EVs on the road, the batteries are all going to be recycled. There's a lot of work going on right now to scale up recycling, because the key raw materials going into batteries, the nickel, things like nickel, lithium, manganese, cobalt, various other things are getting virgin raw materials mined and processed takes a lot more energy, and for the number of EVs that we want to put on the road to replace all the gas vehicles, we need to recycle those things. So that stuff's all going to be recycled. So there's actually going to be probably less waste, relatively little e-waste from EVs. As far as the grid goes, there's work being done to upgrade the grid. We have plenty of power generation capability to support a full fleet of EVs. That's not the issue, because we have most of the time we actually have a lot of excess, because we're not. We have times during the day when they're using peak power, but then the rest of the day, there's a lot of excess energy. And so through things like vehicle-to-grid integration, where vehicles can be used to help balance the grid, that's one of the efforts being done. The power, the electrical distribution on the grid, that's where we need the upgrades, and that is happening. Utilities are well aware of it. They know what they need to do, and it's starting to happen. Hardheads asks, did it have cruise control? Yes, the Maverick does have cruise control. If you get the base trim, the XL, it does not come with cruise control, but you got to give up some things to get down to that $20,000 price point. I would definitely recommend, if you're thinking about the Maverick, you go a couple of $1,000s more if you can and get the XLT. That's kind of the sweet spot where you get things like cruise control, you get lane keeping assist, blind spot monitoring. All that is included if you get the XLT with the Copilot 360, and that gets you to about $23,500 or $24,000, depending on what other options you get. You can, of course, option it up much higher, but I think for this type of truck, it's very useful. Also, somebody was asking about whether the short bed in this thing, it's got about a 4.5 foot bed, is actually useful. And yes, it is useful for what most people would want out of a truck. If you're not towing a big camper trailer or a big boat, then most of the time, if you're using a truck, you're using it to haul loads of mulch and soil from the garden center, from the big box store. I used it yesterday to haul a couple of loads of brush. I did some tree trimming last week and hauled all that stuff out to the local township compost site, and it was fine. It was great for that. Am Heiss asks, what have you heard about the Nissan Ariya EV? They're doing a preview with it here in LA on the 16th. I've seen the Ariya up close. I've sat in it. I haven't driven it yet. It'll be coming out early in 2022, and they will be showing off the production version of it in LA just before the auto show the week after next. And it's a mid-compact crossover, similar in size to a Nissan Rogue or a Toyota RAV4, Ford Escape, and it's going to have about a 300-mile range, so it's I think it's going to be a good competitor in that segment, as an EV. See, eBiker asks, does Ford allow you to charge at dealer and service centers, or are you relying on public chargers in your own home? So the Maverick is not a plug-in. It's just a regular hybrid. I don't know. I've never asked about charging at a dealer. There is one nearby me here, but there's also an Electrify America station that's also about the same distance away. It's about a 10-minute walk from my house. And I usually just go over there. And most of the time when I get EVs or plugins to test, it usually oftentimes, they're set up. They most of the new EVs have some sort of deal with one of the charging networks, oftentimes Electrify America, for free charging for the first couple of years. So I'll just take it down there and plug it in and charge it, and then walk home and then go back and pick it up when it's done. Let's see. Retcon, how's Leo's Mustang? Leo can talk about that, but I think he's enjoying it still. Let's see. What else? Have you heard about? Yeah. Okay. And then another thing I was talking about earlier with deliveries with EV or with autonomous vehicles. We're going to start seeing there's already a bunch of work being done, testing of deliveries, both last mile deliveries. I think, we're going to see companies like Zoox probably eventually do a version of their robo-taxi that Zoox is owned by Amazon that has Amazon lockers on it to do mobile, basically turn it into a mobile Amazon locker. And we'll see those. Ford and Argo are going to be launching delivery services in Austin and Miami and Washington, D.C. Before the end of the year, working with Walmart to do deliveries for Walmart and for some other partners. Cruise is already doing deliveries, and as is Waymo in Arizona with Walmart. And we're also going to see things like middle mile autonomous deliveries between distribution centers and stores, and then long haul autonomous trucking. That's being tested now, and probably in about 2023, maybe by the end of 2022, we'll start to see.
We should talk about that sometime, because there's right now, part of the reason there's a supply chain shortage is a lack of truck drivers. Autonomous is going to be more and more economically important, and I bet you it gets advanced. Yeah. Aurora just went public this week, and they're already testing doing runs between Dallas and Houston for FedEx. They've been doing that for a couple of months now. Thank you, Sam. Have a great week. All right. See you in 2. See you next time. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy, Hour 2 of the Tech Guy Extravaganza. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. If you have a question, a comment, or suggestion. This is the exact opposite of an extravaganza, actually, in all honesty. It's just me and a microphone. There's nothing else. So it might be a little bit of a overstep to say extravaganza of the quiet little Tech Guy show. Of course, we would love it if you would join the extravaganza. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. Website, techguylabs.com. Everything I mention will show up there, thanks to our scribe, James DeRuvo, writing it all down at techguylabs.com. That's free. There's no sign up or anything. It's just a place you can go to get information about things we talk about on the show. Anything else? No, I think that's it. Let's go on with the show. And our next caller, who is from Orlando, Florida, Kurt's on the line. Hi, Kurt.
Hey, how you doing, Leo?
I'm well.
Hey, by the way, rest assured, if you're a tech guy, it is an extravaganza. So, yeah.
It's a party in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to thank you. I've been aware of you and following you since the beginning of Tech TV. That was my introduction to Leo Laporte.
Thank you. Yeah, that's been 20 years now. Yeah.
And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. I wondered if you could synopsize what happened to Tech TV. What was its demise? Why? I mean, I don't know if there's a simple way to put it, but that's part of my question. What happened there? And then secondly, I know you guys sort of did a revamp of screensavers at one point. As far as video is concerned, has there ever been any talk of, or have you heard of anyone trying to bring back a network tech channel?
Yes. Actually, G4 TV has been resuscitated. So Tech TV was a cable channel, originally ZD TV, because it was created by Ziff Davis in 1998, May of 1998, right before the tech bust. And I was a host of two of its shows, Call for Help and The Screensavers, for 6 years, from 98 through 2004. In 2004, the main owner, it was originally Ziff Davis. They sold to Paul Allen, a name you might remember. He was one of the founders of Microsoft and one of the richest men in the world at the time. Owned the Portland Trail Blazers, the Seattle Seahawks. He did a lot of philanthropic stuff, but he also had a lot of investments, and Tech TV was one of his investments. But a losing investment because it's hard to make money as a cable channel, even harder to make money as a cable channel for geeks. They struggled to kind of build an audience. We never got a very big audience, and so they started doing things like, you may remember, they started running the show Cops in reruns late at night. It got a little weird because I think they said, well, nobody wants to watch all this technology programming. So in 2004, Paul Allen sold, after losing hundreds of millions of dollars, sold it to Comcast. And Comcast already owned a channel called G4, which stood for something about gaming. Games, gear, guns, and ammo. I don't know what the fourth G's were, but it was about gaming. It was also failing. So Comcast, being the brilliant business that they are, said, why don't we take this failing network, merge it with this failing channel, and magic will happen. Well, I left at that time and started a podcast network, which actually, in the end, probably is the spiritual successor to ZD TV or Tech TV, because we did, as you said, the new screensavers. We do a lot of shows that are similar. But G4 TV went under a few years later. Oddly enough, in the middle of the COVID epidemic, Comcast announced, we're going to bring it back. So G4 is back.
G4 or Tech TV?
G4, which is kind of the bastard child of Tech TV, is back. You can go to g4tv.com. They started streaming last year, and I think they're going to try to get back onto cable. Now it's all about games, of course. And the show that they created that was, for a while, they kept the Screensavers, which was the most successful show on Tech TV. But then they eventually renamed it The Attack of the Show. And that's coming back along with some of their other gaming shows. So if you're interested, it won't involve me, G4TV.com.
Then it's no good.
Then it's no good. I agree with you. But they actually are bringing back a number of the hosts from Attack of the Show. I think Kevin Pereira's back. They can't get Olivia Munn anymore. She's too big. Adam Sessler, who hosted their gaming show, he's a great guy. He's back. So they're going to be on, Mike B in our chat room says, on Comcast, because guess who owns it? Cox and Fios, Verizon's Fios.
Well, I'll tell you, my dream show, whether it be on video or in a podcast form, is yourself, Patrick, and Perillo.
Yeah, three of the stalwarts of the old Tech TV. But again, that was 2004.
Yeah, and you're all successful individually now. I mean, everyone's got their own YouTube and everything, so why
podcasts,
ruin it, I guess?
The internet saved us. We were able to, and it was a good time to move on in 2004 as the internet's taking off, and podcasts were literally just starting in 2004. So that was a chance for all of us. Kevin Rose, who was also a host of Attack of the Show and early Screensavers contributor, I think he's done the best of all. I think he's quite wealthy now, mostly because he invested in Twitter and some other companies early on. So he's a smart guy. So yeah, we've all survived the transition. These things happen. Yoshi Herrera, you might remember him. He was famous for building crazy gaming rigs and stuff. He built a gaming machine that had a Nintendo in it, a PlayStation, and an Xbox, all in one box. He, I think, ended up working in Hollywood, working on props and stuff for Hollywood for motion pictures. So I haven't been able to keep up with everybody, but we had a reunion, a 20th reunion in 2000. Is it 2018? I guess. And it was fun to see everybody, and they're all doing great. And I just, keep doing what I did before Tech TV, which is a radio show where I answer tech calls.
Yeah.
I'm glad you remember it. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
We bored everybody, but with that trip down memory lane, but it was good for me. I hope it was good for you. It's funny because I think it was the right idea, maybe at the wrong time, right? Now, everybody's into tech. Maybe this is still the wrong time because tech is no longer a hobby. It's life. So maybe the sweet spot was kind of in the early 2000s when it was a hobby, but it was an important hobby. It was an interesting hobby, and people were willing to spend some time, watching it on TV. Now, I don't know. Are there any? I don't think there's any computer television shows. They don't call them. They wouldn't call them that anyway. What would they call them? Even Talk Soup, which was just about. No, that wasn't. Is there anything like Talk Soup for social media? I don't know. I think those days are gone. There's just me sitting here with an extravaganza on the radio. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Big stuff coming up. Mr. Photo Guy, Chris Marquardt, with his weekly photo segment, will give us an update. Meanwhile, back to the phones, 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number, and on the line from Austin, Texas is Taylor. Hello, Taylor.
Hey, Leo. I've been listening to you and watching you for so long, so it's so good to talk to you. I don't want to bore people too much, but I go back all the way to Tech TV, the likes of Michaela Pereira, you screensaver, so been watching and listening for a very long time.
It was a really fun. We were just talking about it, of course. It was a fun thing to do. It's fun when you can do TV and there's no grown-ups. And while there was an attempt to adult supervision, it was not very good. And so we got to be geeks. We just got to have a good time. And I knew better, having worked in media for years. So I told all the kids I was working with, appreciate this because you're never going to get this again. And I think I was right. That was a special time.
I think you were right for sure.
Yeah.
So my question, I guess maybe if you could kind of comment on this. So I'm on TikTok and I was watching. I found a viral TikTok that had over 1 million, I think maybe 2 million views, and it was of this lady who was at an ATM. I won't name the bank. And the ATM, as she was depositing quite a bit of cash, crashed and started to restart. And the next thing she knew, a Windows 7 splash screen comes up. And the only reason I wanted to call you and ask you about this is because a similar thing happened to me back when I used to bank at a brick and mortar bank. ATM crashed. Thankfully, the money went in and everything was fine. But I was just curious. I know you talk a lot about, EOL or end of life operating systems, Windows 7 obviously being one of those. Whether, a large ATM manufacturer like NCR, the big guys, I would think they would be upgraded by now. So are they getting back-end updates special?
Yes, they are.
Are they keeping things secure?
Actually, believe it or not, a Windows 7 ATM is pretty up-to-date. It's more up-to-date than most. There are a great many ATMs still using XP or even a version of Windows called CE, but most of them, including that, I'm sure that TikTok video, are using a version of Windows called Windows Embedded that is designed for embedded hardware. So it's not like a PC. And Microsoft absolutely continues to provide updates for those. So it is really what you're seeing is probably more secure than if they were just willy-nilly putting Windows 11 on it, because it's been time-tested, battle-hardened, it's designed for ATMs, and so they're reluctant to be it's not the same as you and me. They're reluctant to make too many changes. They've got it pretty locked down. And yes, they are still getting security updates from Microsoft. So as funny as it is, and I still see, all over the place, crashed Windows, even in Vegas, sometimes on those big signs. As you go down the strip, you'll see a Windows 11 or Windows 10 blue screen, and it's like, wow, they're using Windows for that. That's not the same as the ATMs. They're using Windows embedded, and it's a different animal. So I wouldn't worry about them too much.
Good to know that it's still secure.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Leo.
You're welcome.
Talk to you again.
Pleasure to talk to you. Thanks for listening. Yeah. There's actually, speaking of viral TikToks, there's a really kind of happy story about this. I don't know if you ever see TikTok. Of course, it's a social network. Kids love it. Short videos. I think they can go up to 3 minutes now. For a long time, they were even shorter. And they're entertaining. They're fun. They go fast. You swipe through them. TikTok, which is run by a Chinese company, has a very smart algorithm that watches how long you watch every video, watches the videos you pay attention to, the ones you kind of swipe through, and is able to tune, as a result, just like Facebook does, just like YouTube does, tune the videos you see to be, because they're more attractive. The idea is, well, they want you to watch more. The more you watch, the more ads you'll see, the more money they make. So they're very effective that way. And it is not unusual for videos on TikTok to go viral, by which I mean millions of people will see it, just like on YouTube. But for the same reasons, is that algorithm works so well. You remember, who would have thought the guy who was skateboarding down the street in L.A. drinking Ocean Spray cranberry juice, lip-syncing to a Fleetwood Mac song? Remember that one? Was that last year, the year before? Who knows why that became viral? Something about the algorithm. People laughed and they watched it. And the algorithm said, oh, give them more of that. More and more people saw it. Millions of people saw it. The Fleetwood Mac song, Dreams, that he was listening to, shot back to #1, even though it was more than 20 years old. Ocean Spray was so happy that he was drinking their cranberry juice, they gave him a cranberry red pickup truck filled with cranberry juice. I don't know where the guy is today, but he had his moment, thanks to TikTok. So one of the things you see sometimes on TikTok, people who are experts in domestic violence, things like that, will post from time to time a hand gesture. And they say, if you are being abducted or you're being abused, do this hand gesture as you walk by strangers. Your captor will not know what you're doing, but they might. And there's been a real attempt. I have mixed feelings about this, but there's been a real attempt to spread this hand gesture around. Just for your edification, you put your hand up, you put your thumb in, and you wrap your fingers around your thumb. It's a very simple gesture, and it could be mistaken, and you could be walking along, and you could do it behind you and whatever. And I kind of thought, yeah, well, fine, okay. It worked. It worked. Authorities were able to find a missing 16-year-old girl after she caught the attention of a driver by using that hand gesture. The hand signal is supposed to represent violence at home. I need help, domestic violence. After recognizing the signal, so a driver said the teen appeared to be in distress, called 911. They arrested a guy who had abducted this 16-year-old because of the TikTok hand gesture. And because so many people, including the driver driving by, had seen this. Just a wild story. So as much as we bash social media, there are some interesting side effects. Let me see, there's another story from USA Today. I wonder if they have a quote from the girl. She obviously, she just knew the hand gesture. She'd seen it on TikTok, and I guess so did the driver. Thumb in, fingers wrapped around it. You got to make the whole gesture, and if you're lucky, somebody else will be familiar with it and see it on TikTok. No, I'm fine. Don't call, please. I am not being held against my will in this extravaganza. Right, Professor Laura? Right, Kim? Nobody's forced. The door's locked, but it's okay. They'll let me out at the end of the show. 8888 Ask Leo. We'll take some more calls. You know who's coming up? Chris Marquardt, our photo guy. He's going to help us take some nice pictures with our digital cameras next. I'm okay, really.
But are you?
But am I?
Yes.
You shouldn't do the gesture, I guess. Because then people will think. Hey, Chris.
Hello.
Hello. I hope you had a nice week off. Are we going to do a
review? Assignment review.
Yes, I thought.
Assignment review. You have an email, and I have a fishbowl, and I'm not afraid to use it.
Uh-oh. He's ready to get the next one. Took the Pixel 6 Pro to Mexico. Had a lot of fun.
Oh, how was it?
Yeah, it's doing a lot of post-processing.
Yeah, they all do. They have to. They don't have big sensors.
This is a picture. It was dark. You can't really.
This is lovely.
It came out beautifully. If you zoom, if you pixel peep,
this is lovely.
You can see some of the.
Don't.
But don't, right?
Yep. Do yourself a favor. Print that. This is so nice. The light is beautiful. The colors are amazing.
That's from a camera phone.
Print it out.
Yeah.
Print it out. Have it printed 8x10. It'll look just fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I had that. I had the iPhone 12. Lisa had the 13. The iPhone 12 is still great for video. I mean, the beautiful 4K video is stunning.
I'll finally get my 13 tomorrow.
Hallelujah.
Finally.
Hallelujah. And then I also took the Leica Q2, and that's the best camera for sure. But
yeah, but does it but by default give you the same processing on the photos? It doesn't.
When it's dark,
it takes a bit more work,
We were in, it was the Day of the Dead, so we were in a cemetery, and it's lit only by candles. But the Pixel 6, wow! Let me show you the cemetery picture. I mean. And
I'm not saying anything against the
raw
cameras.
That's the raw. You can see how dark it is. I wouldn't have tried to do it with a Leica in this environment. It was just the lighting. There's the raw and there's the JPEG. The lighting was just too dim. Even the raw though is actually they're still capturing a lot of light. I'm just kind of surprised.
Well, but the big cameras are having a bit of a comeback, especially the flagship ones like the Nikon Z9 is making some waves right now.
I'm getting jealous. The R5 I'm getting really jealous.
But you don't want to carry that around. Trust me.
No, this is the Pixel.
It's so huge. It's heavy.
So easy, and it's a nice phone.
Yes.
So and again, it's doing a huge amount of processing. So as a result, don't pixel peep.
Yeah, but the measure of a good photo should be in the emotion that it gives you, and it should be in the print. Works. If you print it out, we do not print enough photos.
I should print.
For sure.
You're right. I was thinking I need to make a book.
Make a book.
I'm gonna make a book.
Make a book from that.
Yeah,
it's super simple today.
Book. Yeah, it's nice that it does the RAW plus the JPEG because you really get a sense of. And if I wanted to, I could work on the RAW, but I don't know if there's any detail. There's certainly detail in the JPEG.
A physical book. I've had old family slides digitized, and I made a couple of photo books with old kid photos of my sister and myself and
my brother,
and gave that for a birthday present. And who cares about the pixels,
right?
The details.
Well, all of these are on Google Photos, so it'd be very easy to make a book. So I will do that.
Yeah, there should be services that plug right in there.
The only problem is there's a limit of 250 pictures. So I have to. Well, I took quite a few. I have to narrow it down.
Yeah, but that's an important exercise to edit it down to the good ones.
I agree.
It's about quality, not quantity.
All right, here we go. I do want to talk a little bit about our fine sponsor, Simply Safe. Man, I love the Simply Safe alarm system. In fact, I love it so much, I set my kids up with it. Now, they're renters, and that's one of the things I really like about Simply Safe is that it is something you install yourself in this day and age of COVID. You probably don't want some installer traipsing around in your house and drilling holes in the wall. getting his germs all over the place. With Simply Safe, you can set up an award-winning home security system in less than an hour, all by yourself, peel and stick. And if you're a renter, it's great. When you move, you take it all with you and you put it up in the next place. It's just great. If you've ever wanted to make your home feel safer, there's no better time than right now. This week, our friends at Simply Safe are going to give you, this is the best deal we've ever seen, 40% off, 40, their award-winning home system. They've got everything, too. And this is the other thing I like about it. You go to the website, pick what you want. Indoor and outdoor cameras, sensors for water leaks. I put that underneath the water heater because it's happened before. Window, glass break, windows opening, doors opening, motion sensors, all monitored around the clock by trained professionals who can send help the instant you need it. U.S. News and World Report named Simply Safe the best home security system of the year. This is this year, 2021. So easy to customize, so easy to set up, and if you want to add sensors, couldn't be easier. Partly that's because this, I got it right here. No, this is not the one I have at home. This is one we keep here at work. This thing helps you set it all up. This is the Simply Safe base station. It says, okay, now move, set it up. Okay, I see it. It's there. The other thing I love about it, you can get a complete home security system for just around about $100. So it's very affordable, especially with this huge discount, 40% off. No long-term commitment, no contracts. It's a really easy way to start feeling more peace of mind. And yes, the 24-hour monitoring is also very affordable. Take advantage of Simply Safe's holiday sale. Oh, I get it. It's the holidays. I get it. You want to protect your home. I mean, the holidays are coming. You don't want the Grinch to come steal all your presents. You need Simply Safe. 40% off your new home security system. Just go to simplysafe.com/twit. You do need to go to that special address to get the deal, though. simplysafe.com/twit. 40% off your whole system. Hurry, you don't want your turkey to be stolen for Thanksgiving. This offer ends soon. simplysafe.com/twit. Mama, don't take my Kodachrome. It's time for Photo Guy, our photo sensei himself, Chris Marquardt. He joins us every week to talk about using your digital wiles to take better pictures. Hello, Chris. It's good to see you.
How are you?
Missed you last week.
It's good to be back.
I
it's good
took
to
a lot
be back.
of pictures.
We have an assignment to review. You took a lot of pictures with your smartphone, didn't you?
Yeah. I brought a good camera, a Leica, but I also brought the iPhone 12 and the Pixel 6 Pro. And, if I look at my pictures, I can't tell which is which.
And your phone's got most of the photography work, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. What's nice, though, I have to say, thanks to Google Photos, I didn't worry about losing any photos. They were always uploading. And I also put them on Amazon because they keep originals. But I feel like I have good backups. And Apple Photos, too, because I brought a laptop and I was copying the high-quality pictures from the big camera into the Apple, and then it was getting uploaded. So that's one thing that's good these days is your pictures are safe. And it's going to be really easy to print a book or, photos. You were saying I should print them out. I think that's good advice.
Yeah. Edit them down to the, 20 best ones, 30 best ones, and then make a book from there.
We had an assignment over the last month.
Yes.
We wanted you to take a picture of the idea, the concept, the word happy. Did you get some happy pictures? Happy little trees?
We had. Let me show them here. We have 43 submissions.
Nice.
That's amazing. That's great. Good, because I guess people have a lot of happy stuff in their lives, and we have three types of main types of happy photos. Pictures of things that look happy, pictures of things that make people happy. That could be anything from balloons to pets to friends, and pictures of happy people. So or happy situations. So I've chosen 3 to look at. And the first one is, that's a very nice little happy, whatever this is, a plushie of something sitting in a tree.
Happy stuffed animal in a tree, yes.
Very, very happy. So there's a lot of these kind of photos. And then there's a lot of photos of people that are happy, or of pets. And here is a very good combination by Kirsten Powell. She made a mosaic of a bunch of pictures of her and her cat.
That's so
I think
cute.
the name's Tiny, if I see that correctly.
Somebody loves her kitty, that's for sure.
And there is a lot of happiness in there, not just but well, I guess the cat is happy, but Kirsten
the owner's
is
happy. Everybody's
sure.
happy. Yeah.
Absolutely, everyone's happy. So that one works really well. And then the third one I chose goes a bit deeper. What we see is, and especially from a photographic point of view, it is what we call a Loki photo. You have a lot of dark in the photo, not a lot of detail, but just some light skimming what is there from behind, so you get the edges of things. And what we see here is an old hand holding an arm of a younger person. So
it's beautiful. That's a beautiful shot.
It's a very beautiful shot. It doesn't reveal a lot, but it was submitted under the happy assignment, so it must be a happy sort of situation.
It must be.
Must be, yeah.
Somebody's happy.
So that's the thing I love about low-key photos. They leave a lot out, so they open up to your interpretation. You are the one who fills the photos, who can fill the photos with meaning, with your own story, pretty much. And yeah, we had a whole bunch of great photos. I had a hard time to only choose 3, so I'm showing a few more here on the screen. Again, we have happy people, kids playing,
McDonald's happy meal. You got some tiramisu. Yeah, that's good.
Everything in there. Everything.
Look at that cat. So, that cat does not look that happy. That is because that looks like a grumpy cat, but maybe they're happy that
cat is. Yeah, maybe the cat is happy.
She's drinking.
Finally getting
She's
a drink.
Drinking some water. Yeah, that's cute, actually.
So yeah, there must be some level of happiness. Maybe the owner is happy that the cat finally takes a drink. So who knows? There's plenty of happy photos there. So thanks everyone for submitting your photos, and it is time to choose a new word to for our next assignment. And of course, it's fishbowl time. I brought the fishbowl full.
So to make sure that there is no collusion, that there is no cheating, to make this a completely random process, Chris Marquardt has put in a fishbowl a variety of words, feelings, and topics. He is now going to pull one out.
That's what I'm doing. These are all adjectives, and one of them that I will choose is, this is good. It's like a fishbowl. Clear.
Clear.
The next word to
clear.
And that has a bunch of meanings. So you can put a lot of different things in there. Clear is our next word.
That's going to be fun. So here's how this works. You take a picture. This isn't a competition. There's no winners and no losers. You're a winner if you take pictures. And that's the idea, to get you out taking pictures with whatever you've got. Your camera phone, your point and shoot. If you've got an Instamatic or a Brownie, that's fine. Photo processing is on you, of course, or a big fancy camera. I don't notice in any particular way that any kind of camera gets picked more often by Chris than others, so he's not biased. But do take a picture that illustrates the idea, the word, the concept, clear. Once you've got a picture, once a week you can do this. So pick your best picture of the week and upload it to Flickr.com. That's the free photo sharing site we use. I love Flickr. Still a big fan. We have a group on there. We've had it for quite some time, the Tech Guy group, about 13,000 members. So you'll know you're in the right spot if you go to the Tech Guy group. You got to join it first. That's easy. You just say, please, I want to join it, and you're in. I don't think there's an approval process. But when you do have a picture, tag it, and this is one of the things Flickr does, with the word TG Clear. TG for Tech Guy, Clear for our subject. That way we know it's your submission for this month's assignment. Renee Silverman, our fine moderator, will say, thank you for the submission. We'll put it in the pool. I'd love to get even more photos in the pool, clear or not. So get those photo submissions up. You can do one a week, and we will in about a month. Chris will sit down and go through them.
The pool is amazingly full. We have 7,341 photos in our pool.
That makes me feel good. Yeah.
And 13,870 members in the Tech Guy group.
The drawback to having two good camera phones, the iPhone and the Pixel, and a good camera is there's a little juggling involved. There's a and the good news was we went down with good friends, our dear friends, Mike Elgin and Amira Elgin. They do a thing called Gastronomad Adventures, and gastronomad.net if you want to find out more. But Mike is also a photographer. He had a Sony A7 III, so he's taking pictures the whole time. So this was actually a great thing to do. He created a shared photo album on Google that everybody who was at the event, there were 4 or 5 other couples, I guess 4 other couples, we could all post our pictures there. So it's a big photo pool now from our trip. Awesome. It was so much fun. Yeah. And your idea to make a book, I think that's brilliant. And now I can use their photos too. If you want to know more about photography, there's no one better. Chris Marquardt's got books about film photography, wide-angle photography, and more. He does the best photography podcast out there, Tips from the Top Floor, tfttf.com. And, of course, he does photo coaching at his website, sensei.photo, SENSEI.photo. Soon, I hope, you're going back on the road. You're doing kind of like what Mike and Amira do for food, you do for photography. Soon?
Working on it.
Working on it. Because that's the next trip I want to take. Anyway, you'll find out more at sensei.photo. Thank you, Chris Marquardt. Have a great week. Stay safe. And we'll see you next week as everybody goes out and takes pictures of clear things. Or clear ideas.
Thanks for having me.
Or clear skies. Or clear fish bowls. Anything clear. Good job, Chris.
I should probably do a segment on how to shoot things that are clear, because that's difficult.
That's actually, you've given us a tough assignment.
It can be difficult.
I could shoot the window, but you wouldn't know I am because it's clear.
There you go.
So that's the real assignment, is how do you get a picture of something clear and know that it's there?
I'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
We'll do something about
that. What was I going to ask you? How are things going with COVID? I think Germany kind of had a slip.
Don't get me started on that. Not good. Not good. Incidence numbers rising.
Yeah, that's baffling. Is it the Delta variant or is it a new variant?
Oh, Delta. It's Delta.
Wow.
And we had an election and people are trying to get elected.
It's getting politicized there too? I thought you guys were smarter than that.
I thought so too.
Maybe not. Humans. I swear.
Exactly.
I swear. All right, Chris. Have a great week.
Oh, well.
Well.
See you next week. Take care.
Bye-bye. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. That's the number. Good time to call. We got some lines open. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. Or Canada. Let's go to the next call, which is from San Bernardino. Larry's on the line. Hi, Larry.
Thank you for taking my call, Leo.
Thanks for calling. What's up?
Okay, a friend of mine had a 2013 MacBook Pro. I guess he dropped it, and hard drive ended up corrupting on him. And so we took it out of the computer, and I've hooked it up to mine, and I'm finding out that it's got a raw file system, and he's got some really important files on it. And I've used probably about maybe 5 or 6 recovery programs to try and recover data from it, and I'm not finding. It's a 500 gig hard drive. I'm barely getting like maybe 2 gigabytes worth of data out of it. There's a ton of bad sectors, and I'm just wondering if there's any way, because I'd hate to tell you this right now, he has one of his crypto keys on there.
Oh, how much Bitcoin in there?
Oh, well, yeah, it's not Bitcoin, but obviously, yeah, it's something that he really cares
about. It's worth
a
lot of money. Oh, it's just his crypto key, not cryptocurrency keys. Well, he wants them back. So a couple of things. I'm guessing he wasn't using File Vault, or it would be complete gobbledygook. So that's good news. He did not encrypt his drive.
No.
You say it's raw. I'm not sure what that means, raw.
That's what it's giving me. It's telling me it's a raw file partition.
Okay, that's not true, because the Mac won't work on a... And what operating system, what version of macOS did he have on there? Do you know? Yeah, that's relevant because Apple has 2 different file systems. If he did not update it to Catalina, if it's older than that, it's HFS, the hierarchical file system. There are a variety of flavors, encrypted and non-encrypted. There's journaled, there's case-sensitive and not, but they're all HFS, hierarchical file system. The tool you're using, is it a Mac tool?
Well, I'm trying to connect or trying to find. I'm using Windows programs.
That's why it says it's raw. It doesn't understand the file system.
Oh.
So that's probably not the best thing to do. The first thing to do when you've got a bad hard drive is a solid state or spinning. It's spinning, isn't it?
No, solid state.
Oh, it is solid state. Oh, well, that's interesting. I would not expect a solid state drive to be damaged by impact. Unless it was in the middle of a write or something. Well, even then, it shouldn't be. There's no moving parts. So something went wrong. Could be electrical, in which case, that could be more hazardous. The way the solid-state drives work is using electrical charge on the cells. If you had a stray spike go through there, it would go wipe all the data as it passed through. A couple of things you want to do. If it's physical, see, this is interesting. If it's physical damage, nothing you can do. If it's merely a damage to the file system, so it depends where the damage occurred, the data is still there. You know this, right? Because if you erase a file, Windows, Mac, any operating system, it doesn't actually delete the contents of the file. It merely releases that area of the hard drive or the solid state storage for use by other people, and then it renames the file name to indicate that it's available. So that means that on any file system, even if a file's been erased, you should be able to recover it until somebody's written over it. Nobody's written over this drive. I presume when it died, it died. Nobody's touched it since.
Yeah, when it died, he couldn't get, basically his computer would not boot. And so I said, hey, maybe I can try data.
Did you take it out of the computer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it's a solid state drive. You've got it mounted in a case or mounted inside a computer somehow.
Well, I've actually got it hooked up through a USB connection.
Okay, USB. So generally speaking, USB is not ideal for file recovery because it hides a lot of the details of the drive. You generally want to work on the drive directly. That may be a little bit challenging. First thing you want to do, this is a forensic thing, but the first thing you want to do before you do anything is make an image copy of the drive, a bit-for-bit image copy of the drive. That you can do in Windows because that's not file sensitive. And the reason is, you don't want to work on the drive. You want to work on the image.
Is that the same as a clone?
It's like a clone, yeah, but make sure you're getting a sector-by-sector, bit-for-bit, identical copy of the drive. And that's, if you're working on a drive in a criminal case, for instance, you never, or with lost data, you never want to touch the original drive because you can damage it. Anything you can do to recover it can damage it further, right? So you don't want to do damage that you can't, get back from. So work on the copy of the drive. The next step is, and that this is actually on the drive, once you've made a copy of it, maybe to see if there's something you can do to repair the drive. My friend Steve Gibson has a program called SpinRite. This works at the hardware level, basically. Well, it's not quite the hardware level, but it works at a very below the file system to go through each sector to see if it can read that sector. And if it can't, it tries very hard, harder than the operating system, and it will move the data off if it's able to get anything off of it. Sometimes doing that to a drive, it's particularly useful for a spinning drive, but Steve tells me that it's working now on SSDs as well. So that's at grc.com. It's about $90. Sounds like he doesn't mind spending that money. So that's the first thing I do is run SpinRite on it. After you've made an image copy, first thing is make an image copy. Second thing, SpinRite the drive, see if that can get anything back. You may then be able to read the drive normally, but you'll have to do it through a Mac or a PC that understands the Mac file system. That means you have to install software on that PC because PCs don't natively understand HFS.
Okay, would there be any software? Because I have a dual boot, Linux and Windows. So
Linux should be able to read it. Paragon makes a program that's designed to, it's a driver basically, modify Windows so it can read HFS. So I can't remember how much that costs. It's called HFS Plus for Windows, paragonsoftware.com. Paragon-software.com. So if you want to just read the disk, you're going to need that because it's a file system that Windows doesn't understand. It's not FAT. It's not NTFS. Windows goes, I don't know. That's why it's saying raw. I don't know what this is. It's just stuff. And to get data back from a hard drive, it requires being able to read it in a variety of ways. The ideal way is using the file system. Because if you can use the file system, then you can see these hidden, these prior erased files, damaged files, so forth, and maybe do a reconstruction on it. This is, as you can see, a complicated thing. If there's physical damage or, SpinRite doesn't work or, you can't actually read the drive once you've got Paragon running, your tools might work against it. I think it'd be better to use a Mac using Mac tools designed for file recovery. If none of that works, there are companies that will attempt to do hardware fixes, things like that. It's harder with an SSD. With a spinning drive, they can, figure out what's broken and fix that particular part. But a SSD is, pretty much a black box. But drive savers is the one I've used in the past. They're expensive. They're so expensive that they actually have a grief counselor on duty for the people who call them and say, I've lost my crypto key. It's worth $30 million. Can you help? When they say, well, maybe not. That's when you need a grief counselor. But drive savers, datarecovery.com. But they're pricey. That's the last step. You wouldn't be too bad to call them. They might have some ideas. But just understand that it's to be thousands of dollars. So it depends how much crypto he's got in that wallet. I'm sympathetic. As you know, I have a wallet and I can't remember the password. And it's got 8 Bitcoin in it. It's close to $500,000. I'll find it. I'll get it someday. I promise. Hey, good luck. You're a good friend to do this for him. But basically, you want to use Mac tools if you can, because the Mac file system is very different from the Windows file system. Yeah, that's a tricky one, Larry, because it's an SSD. Let me see if people in the chat room have any ideas. John, go ahead.
He MacBook Pro, so we can definitely I can connect it to a Mac again, but obviously it would be through USB unless we would have to just open up his Mac and put that hard drive into it. Yeah,
which you can't do on is it a new M1 MacBook Pro?
It's 2019.
Oh, good. Yeah, you can do it on a 2019.
Okay.
So that might be worth it. Somebody's saying Art Chandra's saying the $300 data recovery, they're not going to be as good as drive savers. They're going to do what you're doing. $300 is what you're doing. Stuff that you can do in software. I'm less familiar with how you would do this on a solid state drive, to be frank, because I'm not sure what the damage is. It sounds like it's electrical damage, which may be irreparable. So what you really want to do is not run SpinRite, not bring it to drive savers, but merely mount it in something that's Mac-ish and use one of the Mac tools to do the data recovery, because it will understand the file system, and it's probably not the case that you're going to be able to get any of the hardware to work again. So you're just going to hope to be able to see whatever it is that it can see, whatever was not damaged. Good news is it's rare that a whole drive goes down.
Okay.
If what happened when it fell is like this, it may well be that the controller died and that the drive's fine.
Mm-hmm.
The controller's on that DIMM, that thing you pulled out. But it may be that's damaged. And that's the kind of thing drive savers can do. They can actually put a new controller on it. That's why it's so expensive. But there is data. There's a variety of data recovery. EaseUS makes a data recovery tool for the Mac. That's fine. The one I'm familiar with, let me see if they're still, I haven't done this in a while. The one I'm familiar with, people are talking about Disk Drill, which I'm not familiar with. It looks like there's a whole bunch of new tools. This is because Apple has, really changed how everything works. Yeah, I would try EaseUS. I know them from the Windows side. They're good. That may even be free. They offer a lot of free stuff. And then you could call drive savers. They'll probably say, don't touch it. because most of the time, all you'll do is make it harder for them.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm curious what they would say about SSD data recovery, like, because that's pretty different. Maybe if open up his 2019 Mac, you will be able to swap out the SSD, see what you can do with it. It won't boot. You'll have to boot to an external drive, but you may be able to see the data there somewhere. The one I've used for years is from Alsoft, Disk Warrior. I don't know if that's still around. Yeah, it is. That's $100. That was the king of the hill for years. These other ones are new, like EaseUS. It's good luck. You're a good friend. What is it? His crypto keys like his PGP keys, or is it like cryptocurrency keys?
He basically has a wallet installed. It's the 12. It holds his 12 or 24 keyword password, basically.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So he does 24 words, and he can't.
Yeah, he wants that back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you know why you back up.
Yes.
All right. Hey, you're a good friend. Good luck.
Thank you so much, Leo. You've been a great help.
Sure, Larry. Take care. Yeah, don't tell anybody you know how to do this. And if you save it, make a deal with your friend. Never tell anyone what I've done. What we've done here. Oh, yeah. Not only did I see some hand weaving, Joy, we bought a beautiful rug from the weaver. We saw a lot of gorgeous. I'll show you some of the hand weaving. See, now people are going to be mad at you. Oh, you asked him. Now he's going to show us pictures for hours. The textile. I talked a little bit about this yesterday. The textiles and so Oaxaca is famous for its textiles, for its food, for its mezcal, and for its chocolate. And we did all of the above. And Day of the Dead, actually, it's kind of the heart of the Day of the Dead celebrations in Mexico. Let's see if I can find you a picture of a loom. That was one of the first things we did, actually. So here I am. This is all yarn from their sheep, dyed with traditional methods. It's pretty amazing. This is one of the best weavers in Oaxaca. He's actually making it much more elaborate than traditional. Notice he's not shuttling it all the way back and forth. He's doing a little bit at a time. Very elaborate tapestry. But what's interesting, I mean, these guys, this loom is basically made out of lumber. These are the treadles. They're just pieces of, like 2x4s attached by rope. I think I have a video somewhere of the 2x4s. Somewhere. I think there's a video. There it is. So he's just practically jumping on these 2x4s to do the treadles. I mean, it was very cool. The colors they get. This is all from natural dyes. These are the we talked about this yesterday. Pecans and indigo, various herbs and grasses, and those the little beetles that give you the red. Oaxaca became wealthy making red dye from these beetles and selling it to the British for their red coats. Let's see if I can find the plan with the red dye. Here's Dan grinding out the beetles to get the red. Really amazing colors, and they're all from natural, no chemicals. It's all from stuff that grows around there. Gorgeous. This is the beetles grow on this on these cactus leaves, and they scrape them off and grind them up, and they get this amazing red. Stunning red. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Yeah, this is the show where we talk about getting your hard drive back, getting your new smartphone. We talk about the internet, home theater, digital photography, anything with a chip in it. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. 888-827-5400. 5536, toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada, or you can reach us via Skype or anything like that from the rest of the world. Something that'll call a phone number. 8888 Ask Leo. Adam on the line from Torrance, our next caller. Hi, Adam.
Hey, Leo. How you doing?
I am very well. How are you?
All right. Well, I got a Pixel 4 XL back in July of 2020, and I had the Pixel 1 initially, and I loved it. Upgraded to the 4 XL. It was great. And then in December of 2020, the battery was showing the battery image when I would plug it in. And I did some research and it says, yeah, that shows that there's going to be a bad battery. Long process, because with Google, there's no store to go into.
Yeah.
So I finally found where to send it into. And it was about a 3-week process. Finally got
Yikes.
What I believe is a replacement phone. I'm not 100% sure if they replaced the battery. They told me they were going to send me a refurbished replacement.
That's typical. Yeah. A lot of the times with these guys, that's what they do. It's easier.
So,
I had the same thing happen to me. I had a Pixel 4 XL, and mine was a little more dramatic. The battery started swelling, and the back popped off. And that's a recipe for disaster, because if it gets punctured, it will burst into flames. That's when you get phones exploding.
Right. Well, mine, thank goodness, didn't do that. But I get that replacement phone in January. Well, just this past September, same symbol comes up. So
I'm wondering what they probably didn't give you a new battery. They gave you a replacement with the old battery.
Right. So I sent it in a second time. And again, it was about a 2-week process to get it back. And I've gotten it back again. My question is, have you heard about this, or is there anything I can do? Or, I mean, what?
Well, here's what I did. I didn't send it to Google because it was out of warranty.
Well, they extended the warranty by an additional year.
Well, okay, that's nice. Maybe they knew there was a problem.
Right. That's what I believe, just for this specific battery issue, too.
Well, it's not much of a coincidence. I mean, it is a coincidence, but it's interesting that I had a similar problem. I actually replaced it myself. There's a company called iFixit. It's actually a fairly simple repair. So iFixit sells the battery, brand new one, and gives you the tools. They have videos on their site for how to do this. It is not, I would say it's medium. You know, it's not, there's not screws. You have, it's glue. It's held together with glue. So they send you a little pad you heat up in the microwave, and you put it on there, and it warms up the back till the glue melts. Then you can pry the back off. The battery is easily visible. It's held in by a connector, but it's held in also by glue strips underneath it. So the hardest part for me was you have to you raise the battery up a little bit and slowly pull out the glue strips. They'll peel out, but you have to take them out slowly. And once you get them out, then the battery just comes out. The new one has exactly the same connector. You put it in, put glue strips on that, put it in, glue back the back, and my Pixel has been fine ever since. No problems.
Okay.
So
is that different than U-Break iFix?
Yeah, that's U-Break. U-Break iFix is actually, I think they're saying in the chat room, what Google uses to fix your stuff.
And the second time it happened, they first said to go to them first, and they said, no, we stopped doing those repairs because they kept coming back.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
The more research I'm doing, the more I'm realizing this must be an issue with other people.
Must be a problem.
And
the
4XL.
Yeah.
But I mean, if this happens again, I will go that route. It's called iFix?
It's called iFixit. I'll put a link in the show notes to the page where you can go directly, ifixit.com. I've known them for years. They've been a sponsor of our shows. They're good people. They're all kind of among the foremost companies promoting the right to repair. You know, this is a big issue. Apple just announced that if you get a third party to replace the screen on your iPhone 13, the Face ID won't work anymore. We can't be responsible for it, so we're not going to let you log into your phone anymore.
I'm definitely not opposed to fixing it.
Yeah, that's anti-consumer. Yeah, you should be able to repair your own stuff.
Especially since now that I did the calculation, I'm like, I've had this phone 16 months, and I've been without it for about 5 weeks.
That stinks. That's not good.
I'm still making payments on it.
Yeah, that's not good. So if it is under warranty, I would guess that doing this will avoid the warranty. So that's something to be aware of. It is a little annoying. And you can't just bring it into U-Break iFix. They say we don't do that anymore.
Yep.
That's interesting.
I know. It just leads, like I said, the more I look into it, the more it leads me to believe that this is obviously something with this particular.
It might well be, yeah.
And I'm at the point where my next upgrade, I might not stay with Google. I might go back to iPhone, which I haven't had in years, but the rest of my family uses it. So
one of the advantages of the iPhone is Apple is better at standing behind its hardware, I think. Not that these things don't happen to iPhones too. The Pixel 4 XL was made by the same people who make the iPhone, on high, Foxconn. So it's the same manufacturer. It's not the same parts, obviously. I think the new 6 is not made by, I don't know who the new 6 is made by. Let me look it up.
I heard you mentioning that you had the 6, and I was curious.
Well, it hasn't.
It sounds like you like it.
I've only had it for a week, and it hasn't blown up on me yet. So I don't. I don't know. I don't know if it's better or not. I'm not sure who makes the current. They've gone to different manufacturers almost every time. So the past performance is no indicator of future results, as they say on the TV ads. It may not be the same manufacturer. I suspect it's not. So I think it's, I know the chip's made by Samsung. I wouldn't be surprised if they made the phone as well. So there's no indicator that it's going to be a bad, that it's going to have the same thing's going to happen. But on the other hand, you have experienced what many report, which is that service and support by Google is subpar.
Well, you just can't go in anywhere.
Yeah.
There's no store. I went into AT&T first because that's where I purchased it through.
That's interesting. So you bought it at an AT&T store, and they would not fix it?
Nope. They said after 30 days, we will not replace anything. You got to go through Google. And I said, please tell me where I can go.
No, there's nowhere to go.
Online to the Google.
Nowhere to go.
This is also mid-pandemic, so, getting anybody on the phone was near impossible. So it was all through chat online, which was even more difficult. And you're trying to explain what's happening. And
it's frustrating. Everybody who has dealt with problems with Pixel phones has reported this as well. It's just not a good experience. And Apple is, there'll be people calling the show, they always are, who have problems with Apple too. But generally speaking, there's at least a place you can go.
Yeah, I can go into an Apple store. Yeah. And I heard that Google is going to start having, brick and mortar.
They have one in New York. I don't know if they're going to do more than one.
So I'm not flying to New York from LA.
No.
Fix the battery. I'll go to ifixit.com and order one.
Yeah.
So
this is bad for Google. I mean, your reaction is what happens. People say, next time I'm getting an iPhone.
And because I'm a Google person, Google Drive, I'm an educator, so we use Google Suite for education and everything's, all my photos, everything. So I would like to
sigh
their products.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry that happened to you. Yeah, you can do it yourself. You will void the warranty when you do, but maybe it'll be fast. It's certainly faster. It only took me an hour.
I might actually order a battery just to have it on hand for if it happens again.
Yeah, it's not expensive. It's $60, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean that's worth it to not to know that I could fix it and not have to wait those 3 weeks.
Yeah, always on iFixit. Watch the video because they have videos of the repairs, or at least step by step, to see if you feel comfortable with it. I didn't have any trouble with it.
Okay, I feel comfortable doing it. Thank you so much, Leo.
Hey, Adam, a pleasure. What do you teach?
I teach science.
Nice. At what grade level?
8th grade.
8th grade science. Well, you're a brave man.
Thank you.
And yet, you get one mind every year that's going to be changed by what you teach them, and that can change the world. So thank you for doing what you do.
Maybe I can bring in the phone and do a demonstration on some.
You know what? That actually, I bet those kids would be fascinated if you say, "Hey, today we're going to replace the battery in Mr. Adams' iPhone."
Yeah,
that would be good.
See how it all works.
I think
see if we can be successful.
I think that's a great idea.
I can turn it into a teachable moment.
It's a teachable moment. We're always looking for those. Adam, a pleasure. Thanks for doing what you do. Take care. Bye-bye. This episode of The Tech Guy brought to you by Codecademy. What a great place to go to learn to code. And I love Codecademy because you start a lesson and you're coding right away. There's never been a better time to be a programmer. I mean, these skills are in great demand. The pay is great. There are lots of jobs. And with Codecademy, you can learn to code the way you want to learn to code, whether you're starting from scratch, Whether you already know how to code but you want to learn a new language, they just added a whole Swift program. So if you're interested in writing iOS apps or apps for macOS, a great program. I took Python there, and it's fun. It's great. Data science. Codecademy can help you reach your coding goals. Simply put, Codecademy is the best way to learn to code online. They not only teach you job-ready coding skills, they also help you build unique projects for your portfolio, earn certificates, even prep for technical interviews. We were talking in the Discord earlier about getting into coding, and certs aren't really the thing these days. If you want to get a job as a coder, you need a portfolio. You need to have some projects up on GitHub, and that's what people look at. That's where they say, oh, yeah, you know how to code. We can see it. With Codecademy, you're getting that kind of training. You can get qualified for in-demand jobs, and it's fast, as little as 2 months. But you can learn at your own pace and at your own level. You get to choose what you want to learn. In fact, if you're not sure where to begin, they have this great quiz that is not technical. It's not about what languages do you know or solve this math problem. It's like, how do you think? And it's interesting. Lisa and I both did it. They said, Lisa, you should learn R because you're obviously great at stats and numbers, which is true. They said, Leo, you should learn computer science because you're more interested in algorithms, things like that. They're absolutely right. So take that quiz. That's kind of fun. You can learn Python, HTML, CSS, SQL, JavaScript, and as I mentioned, Swift. No matter what your experience level, you'll be diving in from day one. You're coding, writing real working code in minutes. That's one of the things I love about the Codecademy interface. You're right there typing code. It's tested as soon as you submit it. You always know if you're on the right track. They have cheat sheets and other tools. Actually, I've used the cheat sheets just independently. They're really a great way to keep those ideas in the front of your mind. And they have tailor-made quizzes just for you so you can test your knowledge. There's a way to learn in their forum with other learners. It's nice to have other people with you. Oh, you can even connect with the people near you locally. Many areas have a local Codecademy chapter. In fact, pretty much everywhere, because Codecademy's community includes over 50 million people. An interactive platform you learn by doing. You can build your portfolio. You will get a certificate of completion, which helps you make yourself more marketable. Put that on your LinkedIn page. Send it with your resume. Land your dream job in web development, programming, computer science, data science, and so much more. Even for me, I just love it because I love to learn, and it's so much fun. Join the millions of people learning to code with Codecademy. See where coding can take you. Get 15% off your Codecademy Pro membership when you go to codecademy.com. Use our promo code to get that 15%, though. You got to do it. Tech Guy, okay? Promo code Tech Guy, codecademy.com. 15% off Codecademy Pro. It's the best way to learn to code. CODECADEMY. Codecademy.com. Promo code Tech Guy. We thank Codecademy for supporting the Tech Guy show. And I told him, you got to be on the Tech Guy because I get calls all the time from kids and others who just want to learn how to code. And I always tell them, Codecademy, it's the place to go. Codecademy.com. And don't forget our promo code. Let them know you saw it here. Tech Guy. Now, back to the Tech Guy show. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Brian on the line, Wilmington, North Carolina, our next caller. Hi, Brian.
Oh, hey, Leo.
Welcome.
First time caller, long time listener.
Thank you. Nice to talk to you finally.
Yes. I am having a lot of trouble with my Alienware laptop.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Which is a shame because I just recently purchased it.
And it was expensive.
$4,000.
Holy moly.
Well, yeah, that's what I say.
Yeah. But it's a game. Alienware is Dell's gaming brand. And so it's a gaming laptop. I have a Alienware desktop, the Aurora, and I've been happy with it, but it's a desktop, and that's not nearly as hard to make as a laptop. What's been going on?
Well, like, for instance, I will let it idle, and the temperature reach up to 70 to 80 for only a few minutes' time after just letting it sit. No games or anything.
That's not a hardware issue probably, though. That's a software issue. Sometimes those things get fixed with updates, make sure you're running the Alienware update tool and applying the updates as they're available. Sometimes the BIOS settings need to be tweaked, especially the brand new. Which Alienware did you get?
I got the Area 51.
Oh, nice. So I follow the Alienware subreddit on reddit.com. I recommend it, and I do see a lot of complaints. I don't know if that's because, and I think it's partly this, complainers tend to be more vocal than people who are happy with their stuff. I know I've never posted saying, I love my Aurora. But I can tell you if I had a problem with it, I might post there. So,
well, here's the thing. I mean, like, I'll play a game and it will get up to at least like 90, and I will have all low settings.
That's not abnormal. Here's what's going to happen: the chip in there. You got an i7. Yeah. The chip
i9.
You got an i9. Okay, that's a hot chip. I remember I had a 16-inch MacBook Pro with an i9 in it. They sold a couple of years ago. They stopped selling them, replaced it with their silicon. But the i9 in that would get to 100 degrees, which is the limit, pretty quickly. We're talking 100 degrees centigrade, by the way, folks, not Fahrenheit. That's boiling, okay?
Right.
And it would then shut down. At that point, you don't want a chip going past 100. So what will happen is it'll throttle the chip. This is a problem in all laptops with Intel chips, by the way, especially the i7 and i9. These faster chips get very hot. And when they get too hot, above 90, maybe up to 100 degrees, they're going to be throttled. They get slowed down. And you'll notice the temperature going down. The fans, of course, by this time are very loud, right?
Loud.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's doing all it can. To some degree, this is in the nature of the beast. All laptops with these faster Intel chips run hot, have loud fans, and will get hot. Now, it shouldn't happen on an Area 51 if you're not playing a game at higher graphics quality.
Right.
So it sounds like even when it's idling, it's pretty hot. 80 may not be the end of the world, but it's still pretty hot.
Right.
So here's some of the things that could have happened. The most likely one, and this is not unusual with any laptop, but it seems to be a problem in particular with the Alienware laptops. You know, when they build these things, they put a cooling system on the processor, on the i9. Mm-hmm. It's got its own little fan, and they use something called thermal paste to attach it. The idea is that's a heat-conductive paste that will pull off the heat into the fan. If that paste has been misapplied in any way, either too little, more commonly too much, or none at all, you will not have good cooling. So it is not unusual for enthusiasts to open these things. I'm not recommending this. I don't know how hard this is, but I see this again on the subreddit. Enthusiasts will open it up and repaste their processor and often get better results. Sometimes they use special kinds of paste. There's a variety of thermal pastes, including metal-based pastes that some say do better. I'm not an expert on this. But that's one problem. If all the fans aren't working or if they're obstructed in any way, sometimes in manufacture a wire gets loose and is keeping a fan from spinning, you're going to have problems that way too. But again, you won't be able to fix that unless you open up the thing. If you open it up, my guess is you void the warranty. So, consider carefully before you do this. Have you called Dell?
I have, and they told me it was normal up to a point, like you were saying, until it gets like 100.
Yeah.
And
these chips get hot. Okay. I mean, I don't know if you remember when Apple came out with its i9 version of the MacBook Pro, a YouTuber said to get the maximum performance, you have to put it in the freezer. and it because it was running so hot, it would routinely get up to 100 degrees centigrade. So it is not unusual. You don't want it to be doing that in idle. That may also be there's something else, a rogue process. Windows may be doing something. It's when you first get it, remember it indexes the drive. There may be things running in the background that are taxing the processor that are going to get better. Updates may make it better. It's not the end of the world. The chip's not going to die at 80 degrees. It's normal.
Right.
It's within its curve, its temperature curve.
Yeah.
It just means it won't be the real problem, in my opinion, is it won't be as fast. This is one of the things Apple did some kind of miraculously by moving to a new architecture. Their processors are as fast at a much lower temperature, which means better battery life, means better cooling, and it means, most importantly, they don't get throttled. They don't have to slow down as you start playing hard and you get that frame rate up. Are you getting decent frame rates anyway?
Oh, yeah. Phenomenal frame rates.
Yeah. I think it...
200.
What I would... the short-term solution, I don't think you want to repaste it. That may be what you have to do in the long run. It doesn't sound like it's abnormal. You can get them on eBay for $5, little platforms with fans in them for laptops. They plug into the USB port. They make a massive difference.
I heard about that.
I've used them. They're cheap because they're all made in China. They're no-name devices. That might be the thing to do. And then wear headphones because it will sound like there's a jet engine taking off on your desktop. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I'm glad you called. It's nice to talk to you. First-time caller. Call back anytime. Keep us informed, too. I mean, let me know what happens in the long run. I think you just keep using it. Is it a nice machine otherwise?
Oh, yeah. It's a great machine.
Yeah.
I expect no less since it's $4,000.
Right. That's how much my desktop cost. But it's good. It's a gaming machine. What game do you play?
I play a lot of Doom, and I play Civilization.
Nice. Civ shouldn't be too hard on it. Doom will be, yeah.
Yes, it's action-packed.
Yeah, so much fun. I think it's normal. I think it's fine. I think it's a little hot, but it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Keep an eye on it. If it's routinely getting to 100 degrees and throttling, it's not ideal. But try that little fan thing, then it'll keep going.
I'll do that.
Hey, Brian, pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Normally, Rob Pyle would join us. He's off doing something in space. Our spaceman will be back next week to talk about this. You know what? This is a fascinating time to be paying attention to. I mean, we are suddenly back in the business, aren't we, of space exploration. It's very exciting, and Rod Pyle is our guide back next week. But the good news is that means I have more time for your calls at 8888 Ask Leo. Let's start with Pat from Rancho Palos Verdes, California. Hey, Pat.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
I am great. How are you?
Every day is a great day.
Oh, I love that point of view. That's nice.
That's right.
Yeah.
So here's my question for you. I heard you actually just say that you have a Pixel 6. So you can tell me if this has happened to you. So I have a 5. My husband has a 4. And we recently both had a system update. And once the update happened, the clock widget for both of us the font became large enough that you could see it from the moon, as well as the keypad where you would put in your PIN.
Yeah.
That also became...
It's too big.
How do you reduce that stuff?
That's not something that should happen, and I don't think is normal for it to happen during an update. Did you update to Android 12? You probably did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they do have a new PIN entry form, but it shouldn't. The numbers, are they all visible on the screen?
Oh yes, they are visible on the screen, but
they're giant.
So much larger.
Huh. And it happened to both of you.
Happened to both phones. So my husband's Pixel 4 updated about 2 weeks-ish ago, and mine updated this morning.
And it's huge. And the clock. Now, are you using the standard clock widget that comes with the Pixel phone?
I am, and when you do a long press on the home screen and select widgets, it shows you the different widgets that are available for the clock. They are all supersized.
Oh,
in font. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so both of you must have at some point gone into the settings on the Pixel phone and changed your accessibility settings in all likelihood. So you can I actually do this as well. If you go into accessibility under text and display, you can change the size of a lot of things. And I do that because I like it to be a little bit bigger. So I make my font size the largest and so forth. I suspect there's somewhere and the only thing I can think of is that you both did the same thing at some point. Maybe.
Let me tell you, my font display size is small.
Oh.
I knew where you were.
And do you have magnification? You don't have magnification turned on, do you?
Not to my knowledge.
All right. Again, that's an accessibility. This is for people with low vision so that they can read a little bit better. In other words, there are a number of settings in here. And I have to think it's something that the two of you did because I upgraded a Pixel 4 XL to 12, no problem. I'm using the Pixel 6 with 12. Everything's normal. I mean, my clock size is actually a little too small for me to read. I wish it were a little bit bigger. So there's something going on. You mean when you talk about the clock size, the one when the phone is on, right? Because when
the one when the phone is actually in I'll call it sleep mode.
Oh, that is big. Okay. So they do have a new, if you're using always on, they do have a new where the size of the numbers is giant. That actually is part of the new thing.
How can you change that?
You can, yes, you can. I'm thinking now. I think what you have to do is go into settings and you want to look at the always on screen. So where is that going to be? Somewhere maybe in display. This is the funny thing about modern smartphones. There's so many darn settings that I've lost track of where things show up. Is it in display? There's the screensaver. You can turn off the screensaver. You can change it to a different kind of screensaver if you want. You can have it be an analog clock instead of a digital clock. Or is it analog or is it numbers?
Digital. It's digital.
It's digital. Okay. So there are settings to change that. Maybe that'll fix it. I'm not sure about the giant pin size. That's kind of.
Yeah, it's like an old school telephone. 1, 2, 3 through 9. Where you would just enter in your pin.
Some of these changes.
The same size as the clock.
Some of these changes are normal. This is the new size of the digits. I'm showing it on my screen. Of course, you're on the radio. You can't see it, but these are pretty big, the new digits. So it may just be this is part of Android 12. Here's an article. Let's see. Somebody said that that's not it. That maybe the sizes are giant again. I don't. That's I think it may be something intentional. As long as everything's on the screen, if we're going off the screen, I'd think maybe there's something wrong. But I think that they decided to make everything big. I'm looking at an article from Android Police. The headline is Android 12 has a huge clock.
There you go. Yeah.
So that's intentional. I guess that's so you can see it at a distance. I don't know. You can change the always on screen clock to something else. So I would go through your settings and maybe play with it. But It sounds like, given that it happened to both of you, it's either a setting that you both changed. That was my first attempt. And if you've got your magnifications, your font size set to tiny, then it ain't that.
Right.
So maybe it's just you like small text, and this is the new look from Google. It is possible you don't have to use Google's launcher. Although I think you're going to have your always-on display. You can disable your always-on display, but I think you're going to have to use Google's. And similarly, I don't think you can change with the launcher. I don't think you can change the pin pad. They probably just got a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's too small. I can't read it." You've got obviously excellent eyesight.
That's because I had cataract surgery, so you're right.
Oh, that's interesting. So it suddenly my mom did the same thing. She said, "My sight is so good now." Isn't that funny? So maybe I need it because I have it set to maximum font size. I have giant letters on the screen. I like it that way. So we're going to put, Scooter X has been doing some research in our chat room. He has a bunch of different ways that you can change the screensaver clock and the always-on clock and so forth. So we'll put as many of those things up on the website, techguylabs.com, as we can.
appreciate that.
It's in the display settings. If you go there, you'll see a whole bunch of stuff you can mess around with.
Okay, I'll give it a shot.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you, Pat. It's funny because companies do this, right? And I think they do it at their peril, honestly. Probably they got a lot of feedback. People say, well, I can't see that clock from across the room, or, oh, I have a hard time hitting those PIN numbers when I'm entering my PIN, and can you fix that? And what they didn't count on is the fact that people are used to how it looks. And a lot of people are going to say, well, there's something wrong. Why is it so big? I think they did that on purpose. I think they were responding to people, and they did it on purpose. That's my guess. It's one of the reasons Apple hasn't changed much about the iPhone in, what is it now, 14 years. It's, still got the kind of the same user interface. I think that's why. It scares people when you change things. 8888, Ask Leo. And I'm with Didgeridoo in our chat room. I like those big numbers. But I haven't had cataract surgery yet, so maybe. Okay, I know I'm a little weird, but that's, me. Thank you for letting me be that weirdo on your radio, the tech guy. And thanks especially to our tech guy team. Professor Laura, our musical director, she picks such great music every week, doesn't she? And, of course, Kim Schaffer, our phone angel. She answers your call, gets you ready for your appearance on national radio. Thanks to the team tech guy in the IRC, our chat room, irc.twit.tv. You're all invited. They're great for quick research and answers to questions. It's not just me. So thank you guys, Scooter X and company. And, of course, most importantly, thanks to you for listening, for calling in. Really wouldn't be much of a show if you weren't listening to it. It'd just be me sitting in a room talking to myself, and that's kind of weird, right? We do have time for a few more calls. Let's get them all in here. Kip on the line from Garden Grove, California. Hi, Kip.
Hello, Leo. Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you.
So I've got a Galaxy S10 phone, and in the last about month, it's been scrambling the video.
Oh.
If I'm on a news story and there's a video attached, it plays a couple seconds and then scrambles it.
Scrambles it how? Like the picture gets all wonky, or?
Yeah, completely wonky. Horizontal zigzaggy lines of just chaos.
Yeah. But the phone in every other respect acts normally. Just playing back video.
And it even plays the first couple seconds all right.
Yeah.
And then it goes wonky.
Have you tried it on other sites besides YouTube? Have you tried streaming a movie from Netflix or any other video at all?
No, I haven't.
No, just YouTube. I doubt it's YouTube, but it could be. That's why I ask. I mean, I think much more likely it is an older phone, and it sounds like a video malfunction. Remember, a phone is just like a computer, and this happens with computers if the video card or the video hardware has problems or the video drivers have problems. One solution might be, and this is an extreme solution, so maybe not the first thing to do, but a factory reset. Yeah. The drawback, as you obviously know, is it's gonna wipe out everything, including all your data. So you want to make sure you've backed that all up. On Samsung phones, you have a choice between backing it up with Google or backing it with Samsung, or both. I would say both. You'll go in the settings. You'll see you can check a box that says make sure it's backed up to Google. That'll back up pretty much everything except the apps, all your data, all your passwords and things like that. Samsung will do the same thing. What it will back up is a list of apps that are installed. So when you restore, it'll download all those apps, but it'll have to download them one by one. What I would suggest is do the factory reset, not install that, restore that yet. You can do that later, and see if you have the same problem. If you don't, good news, it was just a software issue. You've fixed it by restoring the operating system. Then download your apps, and what may happen, it may be there's another app that's interfering, that's breaking things. Sometimes that does happen. And if that's the case, and it works before you install your apps, but not after you install your apps. Now you have to figure out what app is causing that. The third possibility, so that's two possibilities so far. One is the operating system's damaged, has some bad software on it. Restoring it should fix that. Second possibility is there's an app that's interfering. The third possibility is the one you don't want. It's an older phone. It may be malfunctioning. It may be a hardware issue. And for that, there's no fix. It's time to get a new phone.
It does play all right for the first couple seconds of the video.
Yeah. That doesn't. So that would make sense. It's it has a little buffer where it can play back from, but then the buffer fills up and then something's going wrong. That's not unusual. I've seen that happen. Before you do the reset, I would try going to other sites with video like Vimeo, Vimeo.com, and seeing if their video has problems, just to make sure it's not a YouTube issue. I
think it's less on YouTube than it is on like a news story from.
Okay, so you're seeing it in other places as well. Does the video ever sometimes play all the way through?
Yeah, some videos do play all the way through.
Interesting.
And usually the ones that fail are through news stories, not. I think YouTube plays well.
Oh, that's interesting. So, good. I'm glad you said that, because then I would say don't reset your phone. Because it sounds like it may be a bandwidth issue and not necessarily your fault. It may be the sources that you're getting it from. I have not seen this happen. I don't know. Anybody in the chat or the Discord server, have any of you seen video getting scrambled? I have not seen this, so I'm not sure what the possibilities are here. I'm just based on my understanding of how computers and smartphones work, grasping at straws.
It does happen. Like the video doesn't freeze. It keeps moving, but it's all just scrambled.
It's all scrambled. Does it ever get better?
No.
Never gets better. And when so somebody in the chat room, Keith512, is suggesting it's something called macro blocking, which is, it's it's the same video, but it's like the dots, the pixels got big. Does it kind of look like that? Like big chunks?
No, it's more a horizontal line.
Yeah, okay, that is scrambled. And it's the same whether you're on the cell or whether you're at home using Wi-Fi.
I haven't examined that. I can try that.
So this is what troubleshooting involves, basically, is going through all, eliminating possibilities. So try cell and Wi-Fi, make sure it's not a bandwidth issue. You might reinstall whatever app you're using. It might be that the app itself is scrambled. It's screwed up.
Is Google something you can uninstall and reinstall on the phone?
Well, no. Well, yes and no. It depends what you're using. If you're seeing it in Google News, for instance, yes, you can reinstall that. So it's in fact, that's probably the app you're using. So you're saying it happens mostly when you're looking at news stories.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, it might be just the news app. So the other thing is, do you periodically reboot your phone?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Probably not frequently enough.
Yeah, actually, Samsung on the older phones has a setting that says restart the phone every morning before I get up, which tells me that they had software problems. I don't see this in the newer Samsung phones, but in the older phones, they used to say that. So, it's a computer. Rebooting, especially this is an older phone, rebooting is not necessarily a bad idea. When something bad happens, cycle the power. Now, remember, that's not just turning the screen off and on again. That's pressing and holding the on-off button until you get the power off or restart button and then using that. Sometimes on some newer phones, you have to press the on-off button and the volume up button at the same time. There's a little...
this one's just power. Hold the power.
Hold the power will do it.
Power.
Yeah, reboot it, just to see if that fixes it.
Should I be rebooting?
Pardon me?
How often do you think I should?
Well, until it comes back. I would reboot every week on an older Samsung phone, yeah. For some reason, they, like I said, on the 10, they used to say, there used to be in the settings, reboot every day, which tells me they had some sort of problem, because you shouldn't have to do that. So maybe you look in your settings, see if there's a command to reboot like at 3 in the morning. And if there is, do it.
That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm not completely solving this problem for you, but there's at least some areas to look.
I think I'll try those, Leo.
All right. Hey, it's a pleasure talking to you, Kip. Have a great day. And Samsung's, by the way, the rumors are out now, this S22, so you have an S10. The Samsung Galaxy S22 is about to be announced. And so now it's not official, but there have been leaks that they will announce that fairly soon. Release date is perhaps in February. So, boy, we just can't sit still for a moment, can we? There's always something new. How else are they going to get you to spend your money? That's the question. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Have a great Geek Week. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.